sports talk from start to finish.
You're going wire to wire
with Diesel and Cole Bryson
on the Fan Upstate.
Well, it is time for you to turn your attention, but where do you turn your attention, Diesel, now that there is officially less than a handful of football games left? And what a sad thought that is. But there are other things on the horizon for us to talk about. For you, Tolos, I know.
No more football.
I know. But there are other sporting events. And you know what? We turn our attention to those sporting events. I ask you which bucket you are in on this Wednesday when it comes to what your next 3 to 6 months look like as a sports fan. Welcome into Wire to Wire. He's Diesel. I'm Cole Bryson. So good to be with you. We are live at 1524 Locust Hill Road in Greer at Ingles. And Diesel, it's a busy day at Ingles, as you can imagine. Did you find a parking spot?
I've had to mosh with like 37 people just to get to the front door. I mean, it was elbow to elbow to get in here. It was like the last lap of the Daytona 500.
Yes, it was. And just for kicks and giggles, I did go to the bread aisle. And in Greer at the Locust Hill location right now where we are, there are hot dog buns and a few bagels.
Like there's no wheat bread, there's no oat bread.
I think there were a few things of wheat bread left, and maybe some keto bread. Did you know that existed?
Yeah. You know it's bad when people won't even take the wheat bread.
The wheat bread's nasty. So you like wheat bread?
I love wheat bread.
I think wheat bread belongs in the trash. I cannot stand wheat bread. It's the nastiest thing in the world.
Is it like cauliflower pizza? Because we know Dan has a big problem with cauliflower pizza.
It is pretty close to it. I did not check the milk inventory, but I would assume that it's pretty bare as well on this Wednesday. So swing by, say hello, grab your essentials. It was funny. Who was it? Mustin yesterday that was fussing about the whole bread and milk thing and said, for him, he was going to go to the beer and wine section before he went to the bread and milk section.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. Evan and I were talking about that before the show started. Why do we buy bread and milk? What is it about bread and milk that makes us think, okay, if we lose power, at least we've got some dry bread and we've got some old milk in the fridge? I don't understand that, Diesel. I would think like more canned goods. Wouldn't canned goods make more sense? I don't know. I don't understand the whole philosophy behind the bread and milk thing. What can you eat with bread and milk? You going to make a bread and milk sandwich?
Yeah. I mean, I guess. What can you make that? You can make French toast with that.
Can you?
Isn't that about it? French toast is all you can make with. I mean, you got to have some eggs. You got to have some cinnamon. You need a little bit more than just milk and bread.
Dewey says cereal. What do you put bread and cereal do? I don't know.
I guess you could break the bread into chunks, toast it, put some sugar on it. Technically, that makes it like frosted flakes.
Yeah, maybe so.
Frosted chunks.
But nonetheless, man, here we are, and it's Wednesday. I don't know what's going to happen this weekend, Diesel. I don't know if it's going to be snow. I don't know if it's going to be ice. Who the heck knows what's going to happen? But the stores are feverishly running out of bread and milk. That's for sure. And on the flip side, you and I are going to be on the air Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I believe from what I'm seeing, we're supposed to start getting accumulation on Saturday morning at some point. So it'll be really interesting to see. My prediction is this, before we get back to sports. My prediction is Saturday it snows for a little bit. Very light accumulation. Some parts, maybe like northern Spartanburg, Diesel, some inch, maybe a 2 inches of snow a little bit. But I'm going to predict around afternoon on Saturday, it goes straight sleet, all sleet on Sunday. We get a bunch of ice. Kids are out of school. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday because of ice. That's the problem. It's not supposed to get warm next week.
Did you know that our bosses some snowshoes to get us to our different homes, our apartments, and our houses?
Yeah.
To make sure that we can hike to work on Monday and make sure that we're here. Because Dewey says, no, you don't get to take Monday off.
Well, I don't think we're going to take Monday off. I don't think so. But we don't know what's going to happen. We might get snowed in. And by the way, Tolos, we are working on the audio on the stream. Not sure what's going on there. Our settings hadn't changed. Everything looks fine. We'll blame Dewey. I'm checking the audio settings right now. Let's see. Yeah, I think we're good. Let's blame Dewey.
These things change more often than Chris Justice's predictions.
They really do. They really do.
Oh my God, it's John Cena.
So, nonetheless, we'll keep you updated, and we'll see what happens. Let's go to the phone lines before we get back into the sports conversation, though. 844-326-3663. Steven wants to weigh in. What's up, Steven?
Hey, what's up, guys? I just wanted to call in and say the milk is for snow cream and the bread is in case the power goes out for sandwiches. That's what I've always been told.
Yeah, but who keeps sandwich meat in their fridge? Do you have sandwich meat? Like, do you have like that pack of bologna in the back that's questionable?
You can make a peanut butter sandwich though.
I guess. I mean, it'll keep you alive. It's not great. The sandwiches here at Ingles Markets inside the deli are better. I'm going to tell you that right now. So if you need to stock up, come by and get you a couple sandwiches.
Yeah, well, the milk is definitely for snow cream is what I've always been told.
Snow cream.
Snow cream.
The
Oh,
heck is
yeah.
snow
You
cream?
don't know what snow cream
Is that one of those deep south things?
I cannot believe you don't know what snow cream is.
Never had it.
Diesel.
Don't know what that is.
By the way,
Are you serious? They even have snow cream flavored popsicles in Ingles in the ice cream aisle that you could go and get while we're on break, and you could try it there.
Wow. Oh, okay. I mean, I'm down, but
every day.
it might take me an hour to get back over here because the line is like 30 people deep at each register.
what do you say? I missed that
He
last
said
part.
they sell snow cream flavored popsicles here at Ingles.
I can't believe you've never made snow cream. You in App State and Boone.
Steven, are you sure that's a real thing? Or are you trying to send me out looking for blinker fluid?
No, it's a real thing.
No.
Okay.
It's a real thing.
All
Seriously,
right.
they have them in popsicles, and a lot of times they'll have it in ice cream containers as well, depending on which store you're at, who has the selection. Different Ingles carry different things, of course, but I've seen them
Fascinating.
and had my hands on them and bought them before.
So what is your prediction, by the way, Steven? What is your snow prediction?
We're going to have sweet cream.
Sweet cream?
No snow cream here. Just sweet cream.
Oh, my gosh. That's funny. That's good stuff. By the way, I think we've got our audio fixed now on the stream for those watching. I just checked it. Steven, thanks for the call, man. Appreciate you as always. A quick programming note. By the way, Alex Guest, co-host of the Saturday Scramble, said, I don't trust anyone that's never heard of snow cream. Diesel, I am just in total shock. You lived in Boone.
But is it because I'm a city boy? In Boone, we were always well supplied. The beer fridge was always full, no matter what. We didn't need a
snowed
storm
in the summer,
yeah,
though.
we didn't need a storm. Actually, I remember it snowing one time in May.
No way. Are you serious?
Oh, yeah. Accumulation in May. It was wild.
Joe said as long as it's not the yellow snow cream, that's important.
Yeah. You got to be. It's not lemonade, buddy. I can tell you that.
Snow in May.
Yep.
There's no way, man. That would be too much.
I'm talking like 3 or 4 inches of accumulation.
Oh, that is unbelievable.
It was, it's just as wild as the weather here. It'd been like 65 degrees the week prior to that. And then we get this storm come through, and all of a sudden it's dropping 3 inches of snow in May.
I don't know if I would love that, hate that. I don't know how I would feel. Jay Tez on the Joy Law Firm text line says, yep, French toast supplies. Texter says, I eat bread and milk and sweets and just get fat and sassy.
Just get all fat and sassy.
I don't know. Hey,
get that one past me, Texter.
Quick programming note from our boss for those that are Furman basketball fans. Tonight's game is on, but it looks like there might be a possibility that the Saturday game is moved to Friday. So we will keep you updated on that. And there's probably going to be several of those. I would imagine, Diesel, if they're playing on Saturday, which is the plan right now, they're not going to play on Saturday with that weather coming in. So we'll keep you updated. It looks like they might move it to Friday, though.
Who do you think Big T is talking to here on the text line?
What do you say?
Big T, I'll let you read it. Take a guess at who he's talking to. Big T says, put the milk outside, dumbass. It's going to be 10 degrees and any other refrigerated items. Who are you talking to, Big T?
But what my whole thing is, what do you need milk for? I don't understand the whole milk thing. Like, I drink milk. Let me ask you this right now. Do you have milk in your refrigerator at this exact moment?
I have. I just poured some milk out this morning because it went bad.
See, I don't have milk in my fridge right now. So I don't. I don't drink it normally. Why would I have it, when it snows? I don't know. I guess to make snow cream.
I'm going to give you another reason to not trust me, Colin. I understand what I'm doing here and what I'm opening myself up for. I don't use regular milk anymore, and I haven't in like 6 or 7 years.
Oh, you're bougie.
We keep almond milk in the house. You know why? Because it lasts for like a month and a half before it goes bad.
I'll tell you something.
I can never, ever, even if I buy a half gallon of milk, and it's just me. I'm the only one that uses it. And I'm the only one that eats cereal. I can't use a half gallon of milk before it goes bad. But if I get one of those small containers, then it's not enough, and I use it up. I have to go back to the store and get more.
Well,
so I get almond milk, and it lasts for like 6 weeks.
This may surprise you, but I buy more almond milk than I do regular milk.
How about that?
Because I use it. No. I use it in my like the protein shakes and stuff. It tastes better.
So much better.
It tastes way better
I do half water. People really care about this.
They really care. But
Yeah.
we're tackling the important issues right now. I mean, this is what's important right now. Sports, we can get to sports another time. People aren't lined up at Ingles right now because there's a sporting event going on.
Right, yeah.
The bread and milk section, I mean, it's unbelievable. If you want a few hot dog buns and a couple of bagels, have at it. But that's pretty much all that's left on the bread aisle right now.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It'll be interesting. If it's this bad on Wednesday, I don't know how often Ingles gets bread and milk supplied in it, daily. And what's your name? I'm sorry. John. I thought it was John. John from Ingles sitting across from us. He said daily. So maybe they'll be okay tomorrow and Friday. But
we'll be able to ask Melissa about that today.
Yes.
Remember when we talked to her about just how robust their supply chain system is, especially after Helene, how hard it was for them. How hard it is for other stores to get these items restocked and how easy it is for Ingles because they own all their own distribution.
Yeah, that's
so that
right.
means even if you go to the store today and things are kind of sold out, guess what? They're going to be stocked back up tomorrow.
JB on the stream says, that's right. Just put your crap in the cooler and sit it outside with the lid up. Only problem is the critters might get in the cooler.
Well, I'd rather put my crap in the toilet and flush it, JB.
Oh, my gosh. That's unbelievable.
That's a weird way to preserve it, man.
Last thing I think before we get back to sports, because we have a loaded show today. Ashley Chastain Woodard, head softball coach at South Carolina, Lulu Kesson, a Gamecock heavy show. But last question for you and the Tolos before I forget, because I was thinking about this earlier. If let's say you're trapped in for a day or two, what is your number one go-to meal? Not bread and milk. Mine would be like chili beans. Good chili.
Assuming you got power, you throw
Assuming you got power.
Together.
What is your go-to?
Yeah, put it in the crock pot.
Crock pot on a snow day.
Oh, chili is good. It's hard to say no to chili.
Can you top chili?
Maybe like a good cheesy potato soup
be
or
good.
Something like that.
That'd be good.
It's hearty.
Loaded potatoes. Oh yeah. Yeah, I love that. So we'll see what happens. But Tolos will obviously keep you updated on the Furman game and keep you updated on that as more information comes out. But as of right now, also another programming note. As of now, Burns is still on for Friday night. They're hosting Eastside. I don't think a lot of the weather is supposed to come in until Saturday morning. So today's Wednesday. They'll have to make a decision probably by the end of the day today, I would assume. But as of right now, the Burns basketball game's still on for Friday night. We'll see what happens with Furman. And could be a wonky Friday with maybe Burns and Furman both on the same day. Would probably eliminate you and I from the equation, but we'll see how that works.
Oh, man, a day off?
Come on. No days off.
How's Dewey
right?
going to recover from this?
No days off. All right, what bucket do you find yourself in, Tolos? 844-326-3663. The Joy Law Firm text line, phone line still open as well. Diesel, we have, and I opened the show with this, only a couple of football games left, right? 2 this weekend and then 1 being the Super Bowl, and we're done. We're done. Completely done with football. What a sad thought that is. But then upcoming in the next 3 to 6 months, we have the Winter Olympics, Super Bowl, NBA All-Star Game, obviously the NBA season, World Baseball Classic, NCAA conference play, regular season. Then you have March Madness, the Masters, NBA Finals in the summer. Let's see, what else? MLB opening day.
USFL?
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Do you even know what USFL stands for?
United States Football League.
Are you sure?
Of course. What else? United States Football League. It's got to be. USFL? There's no, I mean.
That is right.
Okay, good.
That is right.
I was going to feel really
I wasn't
dumb.
sure.
I was going to feel really dumb. I was going to feel like an idiot.
I thought it was like uber satisfying football league.
So let me ask you this question. Which bucket, Tolos, do you find yourself in? For those listening on the radio, 97.1 Spartanburg, 97.7 Greenville, 101.5 Anderson, let us know on the Joy Law Firm text line. Also, for those Tolos that are watching the show right now, 47 on the stream. Dan B says NASCAR. Geez, guys. Sorry, Dan. You're right. That was my apologies. I forgot to put that on the list. Which bucket do you find yourself in? Because Diesel, I think, according to your bucket, answers the question of how many of these sporting events you'll follow. For example, if you're in the football diehard bucket, you're going to say, okay, Super Bowl, interested.
Yep.
The draft in April, which I forgot to include, very interested. If you're a hoops junkie, if you're in that bucket, you're dialed in to college basketball right now. You'll be dialed into March Madness. You'll be dialed into the NBA playoffs. If you're a casual fan, if you're in the casual fan bucket, and we'll ask Melissa Level this as well, you're probably only watching like March Madness. Something that everybody fills out a bracket, right? You could also be in the bucket of you're a golf guy or a golf gal.
Okay.
Obviously, the Masters will be a big interest to you. You could also be a baseball junkie in that bucket. If you're in the baseball junkie bucket, obviously you're watching the World Baseball Classic, MLB opening day. Or the last bucket you could be, Diesel, would be the event watchers, which I think is similar to the casual fan. But the event watchers are the Olympics, the All-Star games, the big moments. I guess you could even throw the Super Bowl into that as well.
How many buckets can I chuck myself into?
Well, that's a fair point, because when I was typing this in, I do find myself in different buckets. But wouldn't you have to say you as a sports fan are more consumed with certain buckets than you are others?
Yeah, I could say that. Like, imagine you had a glass of water, and this glass of water represents the 100% of the attention that I can give, and you're going to pour some out into each of these little buckets. Of course, the majority of my water's going into the football diehards bucket. I mean, obviously, we talk about Super Bowl. We're going to spend days talking about the Super Bowl after it's done. Then we're immediately going to start talking about the NFL draft. What do the Panthers have to do? Who do we think might be available by the time we get to their spot in the draft?
That. We should do that, like in the studio. Get the water with the buckets.
Ooh.
So you pour your
Put
water.
Some food coloring in it. That's always fun.
You pour your water in the bucket, and you and I would both go heavy in the football bucket, right?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. So then, depending on how much water you have left, the problem is now you have to split that between the hoops junkies bucket, the casual fans bucket, the golf guy bucket, baseball guy bucket, event watcher bucket. And what's interesting is, like, I'm not a golf guy. I don't play golf. You know that. But I'll tell you what I love. I love watching it.
It's great.
So I would be torn there. How I would take that water and, separate it from the football junkies bucket, because I would imagine the football bucket for me would have most of my water.
Yeah.
But Diesel, I love last year's Masters. I think was the great. I talked about this on the day you were out right there at the end of the year. The Masters was the best sporting event of 2025.
Well, they've made, number one, the golf is phenomenal. The storylines are getting better.
And
now
Rory, what
happened? Scotty, the live golfers come back to play in these majors, so you got that level of intrigue. And then, of course, just the production on TV is so good. The production online is so good.
Jim Nance.
If you ever go back and watch any of those videos where they explain how they do everything on a technical standpoint, they know exactly where that ball lands. You know why? Because they've got AI grids laid out on the course. Yep. They know exactly where that ball is. That kind of stuff is fascinating to me because it's so much more complex than anything they did just 10 years ago.
And I don't know how you can be a sports fan unless you just hate golf. I don't know how you can be a sports fan and not love the Masters, because last year, Diesel, when Rory came back and won that Masters tournament, I just thought that was the most amazing thing in the world. I mean, I did. I thought that was the best sporting event of last year. So far, I would say of 2026, I don't think anything's going to beat Indiana winning the national championship the rest of the year.
Great game.
I mean, that's going to be tough. But the Masters last year was definitely the best. Tolo's on the stream. JB says NCAA basketball and NCAA baseball and softball. I didn't include baseball and softball. You're right there, JB. My apologies. JB says, I also forgot about the draft. Dan B says, see, I have it good. NASCAR starts up just as NFL is done. I have 52 weeks of racing and football or both. JB says, I'll be somewhat into MLB at first. And I think it's real simple when it comes to Major League Baseball, especially with Braves fans. they care depending on how good the team is.
That's fascinating because I don't get into Major League Baseball until the last 25 to 30 games of the season.
Yeah.
And then only if the Braves are making a run towards the postseason.
And see, the way it worked out last year for me was I was invested at first because I thought the Braves might be okay. They sucked. The middle part of the season, man, the World Series was so incredible. The playoffs with the Dodgers and all that. I love that. So the MLB, I think the MLB season just is dependent on the local teams that you pull for.
We should go back and pull audio, Cole, from that first 6 weeks of the season.
Oh, my God.
From the days where you were already out on the Braves.
I was done. Like 2 weeks in.
2 weeks in, you were done with the Atlanta Braves. We could play that audio back.
They were bad.
50% of my water is going into football diehards. By the way, let's not tell engineering that we're going to be playing with water in the studio. Water and electronics.
We'll set up a table.
They'll mix. 25% going into hoops junkies because I love, especially if you're a Clemson fan, you're going to get down the stretch. You got the North Carolina game, the Duke game. You got some really good basketball games down the stretch if you're a Clemson fan. And then it's probably golf. Football, hoops 25%, golf 25%, and maybe a couple drops in the Olympics.
See, I would put 0 drops in the Olympics.
Oh, I love the Winter Olympics. The big air competition.
Better than the Summer Olympics?
Yeah, I think so.
I think I'd agree with you on that.
I mean, what's fun about watching people just run down a track?
I can't. The Summer Olympics don't do it for me.
I want to see somebody ski down an icy hill that if they make a wrong move, they're going to yard sail and throw stuff into the next county.
I don't know why, and I know we got to run to a break, but I don't know why, Diesel, as big as a sports fan as I am, I do love sports. Like, I think Tom in Somerville would say that he has to have water in every bucket. Like, if they're breathing and they're, alive, he'll watch it. I just, for whatever reason, have not ever been able to get into the Olympics. I don't know. I cannot get invested in it.
I'm going to sit you down and Clockwork Orange you. I'm going to prop your eyelids open with toothpicks. You won't be able to close your eyes. You won't be able to blink. You're going to be watching the Winter Olympics. You're going to watch the luge, the skeleton, the downhill skiing, the half pipe, the snowboard half pipe, and you're going to be like, oh, my God, I don't understand what I'm watching, but this is great.
I might agree with you on the winter being better than the summer. You're a movie guy. What's the movie where the guy puts the matches in his eyes to keep his eyes open? Is that Mr. Bean?
He does do that in Mr. Bean. You're right.
See,
I love the Mr. Bean movie.
I watch a movie every blue moon.
That movie had like a piece of my soul as a kid. I loved it so much. It was
so good. Good stuff, though. But we'll continue the bread and milk conversation later.
Tolos, when we come back, oh, my God, Baker Mayfield throwing punches at his former coach who is now coming into his division. What did Baker Mayfield have to say? And because he's ripping on his boss, I want to let you Tolos rip on your boss. You got an old boss that you want to talk some trash to? Do it right now on these airwaves. 844-326-3663. We'll get into that and a little bit of playoff chatter next.
Clear, but you got that live read coming up.
There's no way this one's going to come back and bite him in the ass, is it? Baker Mayfield taking shots at his former head coach, Kevin Stefanski, Cole. He is throwing some haymakers in Kevin's way, and I love it. It's petty. It's childish. It's Baker Mayfield. What do you expect? Anything more than that?
You know, I saw that tweet, and it was Dan Orlowski, right, and Baker going at it. I number one, not surprised by it. Number two, I don't know that Dan was right. I don't know that either one of them were right, but I think Dan was more off than Baker was.
Oh, I haven't even seen what Dan had to say. I'm looking at this particular tweet where Baker retweeted somebody named D. Orlando Ledbetter, who tweeted out that Kevin Stefanski had a dumpster fire at quarterback in Cleveland. Baker Mayfield and Deshaun Watson failed, which started a chain reaction to 11 other starters. Quarterback Shedeur Sanders closed out last season with 7 starts. Baker retweeted that and said, failed is quite the reach, pal. Still waiting on a text or call from him, Kevin Stefanski, after I got shipped off like a piece of garbage. Can't wait to see you twice a year, coach.
Well, no, I completely made that up. It wasn't Dan Orlowski. It was D. Orlando.
Right.
I saw D.O. and thought it was Dan. You're right. The same tweet we're talking about. I'm sorry, Dan Orlowski, if you're listening, for throwing shade at you unintentionally. But for him to say Kevin Stefanski had a dumpster fire at quarterback in Cleveland, Baker and Deshaun failed, is he completely wrong there? No, but at the same time, you could tell D. Orlando, is that his name? Dan, I don't know what D stands for.
He works for the AJC. So
you could make the argument. My point is, okay, well, you're going to point out that Deshaun and Baker failed in Cleveland. How about you tell me what quarterback hasn't failed in Cleveland, right? I mean, and that's kind of where I am with it. So you're picking 2 quarterbacks that didn't work out in Cleveland. Also, Baker Mayfield didn't work out in Charlotte either. But my whole point is, like, what quarterbacks have worked out in Cleveland? So I don't necessarily love – I don't know that Baker's in the right, but I don't know that I love the original tweet either.
I mean, can we really even say that Deshaun Watson didn't work out in Cleveland? Because that's all he's done. He never sees the field. He's just inside the facility lifting weights.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, how do you define worked out, right?
Yeah, exactly. Has he even played more than 3 or 4 games?
I mean, you could define worked out in a lot of different ways.
I mean, that is
Deshaun Watson.
That is quiet riot record contract levels of bad job from the general manager to bring Deshaun Watson in to give him that kind of money. And then he's sat for 4 straight seasons?
Yeah, but you know what, though? This is what you want. Like, you want Baker Mayfield to be able to have 2 division games a year where he feels like he has a personal vendetta. And is Kevin Stefanski going to turn Atlanta around? I don't know that he does, Diesel. Kevin Stefanski, we talked about it last week. We just don't know how good of a coach he is because of his situation in Cleveland, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you're telling me as a sports fan that creates more drama and 2 more reasons I should watch NFC South game between the Bucs and the Falcons, in which a normal Sunday I would never watch that game, of course. I mean, it's added drama, and I'll take it.
Well, the truth is nobody has ever batted 1,000 when it comes to great bosses. It's just true. Nobody has all great bosses. I had one, Cole, one time, who was a broke-down, drug-addicted Nepo baby weasel. Everybody knew it. He would trap you while you were clocking out, manipulate you into working extra shifts by misrepresenting the dates. Hey, could you work that Monday after the second Saturday in February? We really need you. Then you realize you just signed up to work President's Day, one of the busiest days of the season, Cole. I mean, this guy was an awful boss.
This was your boss?
This was my boss. My boss.
Oh.
He was awful.
Yeah.
And, if he had a little powder on his nose, it wasn't because he was just outside playing in the snow.
You know what? I'll tell you this. I've been fortunate to have good bosses, some better than others, obviously. That one sounds a little dramatic. The one, not you being dramatic, but a little extra from his standpoint. I don't know that I could have worked in that kind of environment for a long, long time, Diesel. For that, by the way, how long did you work for him?
3 years.
Wow.
It was a seasonal college job. Okay. It was an easy job. It got me free. I don't want to give away where I worked. It got me all kinds of free winter recreation, if you know what I mean. So it wasn't all bad. You just had to know. You had to have somebody play blocker, and you figured out by the second year that you didn't go in there and clock out first at the end of the shift. You waited till about 4 or 5 down the line. You let Tim and you let Eric and you let Steven go in there and clock out, and then he would grab them and say, hey, I need you, and you. You're going to come work on this extra shift. Meanwhile, you hung back and you had your Saturday free.
Yeah, that's rough. I'll tell you this, 3 years is probably 2 years longer than I would have been able to make it. But are we allowed to talk bad about current bosses in this segment or just former bosses?
Well, I know somebody sitting across from us who would love to join that segment.
Oh, my gosh. I'm kidding, by the way. It's a joke. We're making jokes. That's what we do. We would have nothing bad to say about bosses, especially our current bosses, right? Nothing bad at all.
Speaking of which, hey, Stone, man, good to see you.
That's right. My last thoughts on the Baker and Kevin Stefanski situation. I don't know exactly what went in behind the scenes as to why Baker was shipped off the way he put it, shipped off as a piece of trash, and that's the way he quoted it. But obviously, there's something personal there. I don't know. I don't know if there's anything wrong with Baker Mayfield making things personal, because what we've seen in the history of sports, anything you ask Michael Jordan, anything that you can use to make things personal. I mean, Michael Jordan used to drum up stuff that wasn't even real, fabricated stuff, right? And like, if it's real, great. If it's not, great. It doesn't bother me. This tweet from Baker doesn't really bother me at all. I have no problem with it.
Yeah, it instantly makes that game must-watch TV, right? You want to see if Baker Mayfield's going to be glaring across the field at his old boss. You want to see if he goes up and talks to him. You want to see if he kicks him in the nads or something. Like, you have to watch. Otherwise, would you tune in and watch Buccaneers Falcons for any reason? No. But now this is a game you want to tune in and watch.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
It is.
We are now just days away from the AFC and NFC championship rounds. Cole, Patriots, Broncos. I guess the real question is, how bad are the Patriots going to kick their asses with Bo Nix out? Rams, Seahawks, 6:30 on Sunday. Tolos, who you got in these two games? We're going to give our predictions, of course, as we get closer and closer to this thing, Cole. But here's some context that makes these games so interesting. Patriots at the Broncos. Again, Broncos without Bo Nix. Sorry, Dan. 3 o'clock on Sunday. Patriots 8-0 on the road in the regular season, so it may not have even mattered that Bo Nix was out of this football game. The Patriots just beat the Houston Texans decisively, Cole. Denver now 4-0 in playoff games versus New England in Denver all time.
Yeah.
That's a fascinating little nugget, too.
Well, you know, the interesting thing with Jarrett Stidham is you're talking about a guy that has been in the league now for a few years, actually more years than people realize.
7.
But, right, that's a long time, right, in the NFL. I mean, that's, clipboard Jesus kind of conversation there, asking Charlie Whitehurst. I mean, what kind of bad job has Jarrett Stidham had where he hadn't really taken many hits or snaps, and he's probably made a really good living doing so. I just think when it comes to Jarrett Stidham, Diesel, he hadn't started a game in over 2 years now, hadn't played a lot of meaningful football lately. I don't doubt the physical traits that Jarrett Stidham has. He's in the NFL for a reason, and he's been in the NFL for 7 years for a reason. You don't make it 7 years in the NFL if you're no good. You just don't.
True.
So there's something there. The way Sean Payton has talked about Jarrett Stidham, I think there's something to be said about that as well, because as I said last week, I respect the heck out of Sean Payton, and that guy knows ball more than any other coach, as well as any other coach in the playoff right now. So if he's telling me, and I know his job as a coach is to pump his guys up, yada, 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 but if he's telling me, hey, I'm good, I'm confident with Jarrett Stidham, that does give me hope. What I don't know that Jarrett Stidham has right now is the situational awareness that's going to matter so much in an AFC championship game when 3rd and 8 approaches or 3rd and 7 approaches, and Jarrett Stidham finds himself in critical situations where he's playing against a high-level New England defense that's throwing all kind of different looks at him. And think about that. He hadn't seen all of these looks. He hadn't played those meaningful snaps. So when you talk about completing passes and going 15 of 24 or 17 of 28, I think Jarrett Stidham will be fine there. But it's the situational stuff on Sunday that's going to matter to me more than anything with Jarrett.
Do you know in his career, Jarrett Stidham has the same number of interceptions as he has touchdowns? In 7 seasons, 8 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. That's not good.
No.
That's not good. He was also a first-round pick of the Patriots. How about that?
Yeah, out of Auburn.
Yeah, Jarrett Stidham started 2 games for the Raiders in 2022. His OC at the time was?
I have no idea.
Josh McDaniels.
Oh, okay.
Who is the OC of the Patriots. He lost both of those games, by the way. So as you're saying, Jarrett Stidham hasn't seen these looks, but guess what? People on the other side, they know Jarrett Stidham very, very well. Josh McDaniels is going to know what Jarrett Stidham's limitations are. At the very least, you could say Jarrett's fresh. He hadn't been throwing a whole lot of balls this year. So, there's no cumulative buildup of damage on that shoulder. He is fresh, but he is in for a tough outing in this game.
Well, the situational stuff's important, and the last thing I'll say before we run to a break is the pre-snap. Jarrett Stidham pre-snap is going to be huge on Sunday, meaning how Jarrett Stidham can walk out of that huddle and evaluate that defense, look at what New England's doing, check out of it. Because, like I said, the guy can complete passes. He can complete, he can throw a slant route. He can throw a dig route. He can throw a deep post, whatever it is. That's not the issue. But pre-snap, somebody who just, you talked about the freshness. I don't know if that's a good thing. In the NFL, you see quarterbacks of age become more seasoned, their mental IQ. I mean, you saw some of the quarterbacks that we never thought physically had the traits to get it done, like a Peyton Manning in Denver, get it done because he was able to play at such a high level mentally. I don't know that Jarrett Stidham has seen enough defensively and will be able to recognize in real time, pre-snap, what New England's doing. I think that's a big part of it. I have no doubt that he's a good quarterback, but you're talking about coming in during the AFC Championship game, not a Week 7 game against the Browns.
Yeah, you can't win this game essentially being one-dimensional, and your only dimension being defense. Denver had the second-best defense in the league this year. 278 per game is what they gave up. 10 interceptions during the regular season. It's going to require a Herculean effort by this Broncos defense. I mean, I'm talking probably multiple turnovers, 3 turnovers at least by Drake May and the Patriots. Otherwise, they're going to lose this game by 2 touchdowns. And they're right now currently the Patriots favored by 5.5 in this ball game.
Yeah, I'd take those 5.5 right now.
Yeah.
At this very moment, I think New England does cover the 5.5. Gamecock fans, want to remind you, Ashley Chastain Woodard, the head softball coach at South Carolina, coming up at 4:15. But in the very next segment and the next segment, Melissa's Moments with an S. Melissa Level joining us for 2 segments today as we are live on Locust Hill Road in Greer at your local Ingles markets. Come by, say hello, grab an Ingles gift card, and get your bread and milk before the major snowstorm hits. And we'll be joined by Melissa Level of Ingles next.
to Wire with Cole, Bryson, and Diesel on the Fan Upstate.
We're at Locust Hill Road in Greer. We'd love to see you, and boy, it is busy at your local Ingles. The parking lot was full. Melissa Level joining Diesel and I.
I circled like a shark trying to
I
get.
had to park in the graveyard up the road.
Yeah,
Diesel Ubered
don't
here.
stay there permanently.
He Ubered. Melissa, we talked about, I think it was Christmas or Thanksgiving. You said the day before Thanksgiving was one of the busiest days of the year.
Right.
Do y'all kind of like go back and look at days like today or not only today, but tomorrow and Friday where you have a snowstorm coming in? I mean, I can't imagine the sales that you guys do today.
Listen, this is the best thing since sliced bread, to be honest with you.
Literally.
As a matter of fact, back in the day, and up in Asheville, we had a weatherman named Bob Caldwell, and they used to say that Bob Caldwell and Mr. Ingle, Bob Ingle, collaborated just to predict snow before it actually happened. But I mean, it is, and now we don't get them enough,
Yeah.
So now it really is a scare, right? And I think, it's packed everywhere. And yes, it is. This is busier than anything you'll see before Thanksgiving. Or
Is it
any
really?
holiday. Absolutely.
Oh my
Absolutely.
gosh.
And it's especially hard because there's certain items that just fly off the shelf, like your milk and your water and your bread and things like that.
So tell us about that. We've had people telling us inside this store the bread aisle is wiped out except for wheat bread, which Cole won't touch. But how do you?
He has this unrefined palate.
Exactly. You're right.
That's true.
You're right.
That's true.
Who wants
Remember all
wheat
the-
bread?
So
They're all things we've tried before.
You're right.
So for those who are concerned of how they're going to get their staples, tell us about how Ingles
Well,
is really good at restocking this stuff.
We've got trucks on the road right now. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's the wonderful thing about being local. I mean, we have our warehouse is within 300 miles of all of our stores. So you're immediately going to be restocked up, and we're running nonstop. So definitely. And we have our own, milk processing plant.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
okay. So we don't have to worry about getting milk.
Where's
from
that
someone.
at?
It's in Asheville. It's called Milco. It was purchased it used to be the original Seal Test Processing, and all the milk comes within 150 miles.
If the cows get really cold, does it come out as ice cream?
It comes out as chocolate ice cream.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
See, my favorite is chocolate milk, and so I used to. My dad, when I moved up here, I was very gullible. Well, not that I'm not now, but I was really gullible then. And my father and my mom had a vacation place up here, and they said cows had 2 legs shorter than the others, so they could sit on the side of a mountain. Okay, and they had to walk around the entire mountain all day long.
I love that. And you believe it still
I
to this
did.
day, right?
I did. I don't believe it anymore, but I did. I did.
That's awesome.
But it seemed reasonable at the time, right? But yeah, there's all sorts of things happening with the snow. We got the roads, preparing the roads. We've got the big salt mountains that they have, and so I think it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be a big combination. I say to everybody, do not panic. Get out there for your Ingles, and if you don't have something now, you'll have it, and in the next few hours.
No doubt.
And so just be prepared because it's going to be maybe some power outages.
And if you see an Ingles truck, just follow it to the store because it's got fresh supplies in it.
Don't hijack it.
No hijack.
No. Remember, in the Fast and the Furious, they were hijacking those things for DVD players.
That's right.
Diesel and I are in radio, so we might can work tonight and stock those bread shelves for
That's
you
right.
if you want us to. It's some local. I love it. Ingles
There's a
is
wink, wink, wink going on. You can't see it on TV.
well, Melissa. Ingles is such a big part of every community where you guys are, but. When you come into a store, you've been doing this a long time with Ingles, and you talked about the big holidays. But when you come into a store like you did today and see the parking lot like it is and the hustle and bustle and the lines, does it kind of make you just feel good? Does that feeling ever go away for you?
Well, Mother Nature, you can't really predict it unless you have a deal with your weatherman.
That's right.
But but I do. I really feel good about being able to help people.
That's what you're doing, right?
And I consider. And I would ask everybody to do that. Check on your neighbors.
Sure.
Make sure they have everything that they need before it gets bad.
Yeah.
Now, Melissa, are you stocked up with everything you need at the house? Are you going to be doing some shopping before you leave?
Right up before I leave. I'm going to do it here, and then what I don't have here, I'll stop. I have like 5 Ingles I pass.
That's true.
Yeah.
You can pick.
That's
I asked
right.
Diesel this question: if you're snowed in for a day or two, what is your go-to? And your husband, what is your go-to meal? It can be. Mine was chili.
Probably leftover spaghetti sauce that I make.
Oh,
Yeah, because you made that, and I make a really good spaghetti sauce. My husband's listening right now, so he'll say, yes, they do make really good spaghetti sauce. So we do. That might be a good one. We might grill something on the grill. We have gas grill, so maybe some grilling.
That's
out.
smart.
Yep.
That's smart. Even if you lost your power, yeah.
We're gonna have you on for another segment. So we got dual
That's awesome.
Melissa's moments.
Wow.
But the next one, we're going to talk a lot more sports than we
Good.
talked here in this one. But I do want to ask you a quasi-sports question before
Okay.
we get into the real sports questions, okay?
Mhm.
Will Wade and NC State beat Clemson last night, snapped their 9-game win streak. Will Wade owns Brad Brownell
do.
and these Clemson Tigers. What does Ingles own that is just better than the way every other supermarket does it?
Our community.
Yeah.
Our community
That's
outreach.
them, yeah.
I mean, we have wonderful meat, we have wonderful produce, everything. We really help local, and I would consider the local being part of our community.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Too. So we using local processors, local farmers, local producers, and our community outreach that we do to help people. That we beat that hands down.
You know what? That's 100% the right answer. And I say it all the time in our live reads. It's the people at Ingles that truly, in my opinion, that do make the difference, that
Mhm.
separate Ingles from, all the other stores out there. And the people and the community, that's a big part of it as well. It
That's
really
right.
is.
That's right. I mean, you can find a can of peas as a can of peas.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, but what you do with the give back to the community for them choosing your establishment to buy that can of peas
Sure.
is what makes the difference.
When we come back, Melissa, I'm excited to ask you about your quarterback, Baker Mayfield, throwing some shade. We talked about that in the last
Yep.
segment there. Want to get your thoughts on what Baker had to say about his old coach, Kevin Stefanski.
Yeah.
We'll get into that on the other side of the break. A second Melissa's moment coming up next as we're live here in Greer at Ingles Markets, right here on the Fan Upstate.
Clear.
Melissa's Moment Part 2. The marketing director, Melissa Level of Ingles Markets, joins us every time we're live at an Ingles Market. By the way, we're the one in Greer on Locust Hill Road. If you need anything, come and get it because they are absolutely buzzing today. But good news is if you come into the store and something's out, they've got trucks, they've got people out there restocking these stores.
You better believe it.
They're everywhere. Melissa, we talked about the Clemson game last night. I don't know if you got a chance to watch any of it. It was a rough go for Clemson there. They kind of went on one of those droughts that we thought they had gotten themselves.
Listen to her.
I know you're not sorry one bit.
Listen
We
to her.
thought they were past it, but then Will Wade, ex McNeese State coach, does it to them all over again.
You remember that saying that who do you like? I like everybody that I like Tampa Bay, and then anybody that
ABC.
plays and anybody that plays Florida, right? Or whatever. Right. So that's sort of the way I feel about. And I should we have the Ingles Tiger Tailgate show.
You do.
I love Clemson.
But you haven't shed a tear yet for that loss last night.
No, but you know what? I think they're gonna be fine. There's some coaches that just own other coaches.
Sometimes you need a loss like that.
We were sort of like that with Duke, believe it or not. Florida State and Duke basketball. I mean, you would think it wouldn't be that way, but we could go there and beat them.
Say what? Ping pong?
No, in basketball. I mean, year after year, we might not win another game the whole year, but for some reason, we'll win one against Duke every once in a while. And it's like, how do we do that? It's because some people just have a knack for it.
What do you think it is in the psychology of a basketball team that sometimes needs to lose, or any team needs to lose a game to wake themselves back up and shake themselves out of it?
Well, I think it's important, and I feel like you don't have to practice and don't have to that everything's going to be easy. But on the other hand, I don't think you should say, okay, I lost, so it's over, which is where we are as a college football team. It's like, we lost, now we can't win again. I mean, I think there's a happy medium, but I think you go out and play the game, play as good as you can, as well as you can, whatever the sport is, right? And if you give it your all, then you learn something from your losses and you learn something from your wins.
Well, I think any coach out there will tell you they always want to win every game they play, but I think they would also tell you that sometimes they're able to learn more about themselves in a loss than they are a win. Melissa, speaking of a loss, it was a tough go for Miami on Monday. A great game, national championship. Indiana, who, I'm going to read this stat to you and Diesel. We've talked about this a couple of times. Indiana was not good at football before Kurt Signetti got there.
I think it was their first championship ever. Right?
Listen to this. The Hoosiers had as many wins over top 10 teams this year, which is 6, as they had in their entire history as a program. They had more ranked wins over top 10 teams this year than they ever had. I mean, did you?
And they will have them again next year.
They're good.
Okay,
did you like Indiana to win that game?
Well, I thought they would be a blowout. I mean, I really thought they were just going to stream across Miami, even though it was a home game. But, when I turned on the television, I see the sea of red, right? Okay. I think it was you that was telling me last week that they have the largest alumni and traveling alumni in the country.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and so they were ready for it. But I was so glad to see it be a good game.
It was a good game.
I think I didn't know whether that Heisman curse was going to get to him ever. So I was just wondering because sometimes it happens. I mean, I've seen it with so many quarterbacks.
So Bobby Knight won 3 titles in Indiana. Signetti's got 1, and who knows what he might do in the next couple of years of his career. But who do you think ultimately will go down as the bigger deal? Like, I know Indiana's traditionally is a basketball school, but winning a football national championship is like an atom bomb versus a firecracker.
Yeah.
Like, which one's going to go down as the bigger deal on
Bobby
that?
Knight. They made a movie about him, right?
They had to redesign the folding chair for him.
Right. I guess.
That's true. I just think, Melissa, in this new era, and we're going to talk about this at 5:00, and we talked about it yesterday. I'm in awe, I guess, of like what Signetti did at Indiana, taking a program that was so bad. But he came in, and in 2 years, he used the portal. He used NIL. Some coaches, think that brings you off your moral high ground to use those tools.
No, they used them, but he still had people stay year after year too, which is something that he created a culture at the same time.
We talked about
that
yesterday.
If you have something that's in the middle of that, where you don't just let people go through as a revolving door, okay, you set some standards, right? And I think that's what they did.
But for them to do it as quickly as he did, is that not amazing? 2 years.
Yeah, I think it's amazing, but it's not uncommon in today's world
because
you can buy your team. But I'll say this: I love that the line in Hoosiers win this for all the little teams that will never have the chance. And I felt like that Monday night when they're winning, and I felt like they won with grace. Also, of course, Miami. There you go, throwing punches at the end of the game. All right, after the game was already
Beck
over,
didn't even shake hands.
I know. I mean, it was Miami's the only team that will go out and toss a coin and start fighting with. I mean, in the middle of the field. I mean, seriously, that's happened more than one time. It's Miami against the Florida State Criminals. I mean,
Sure.
that's But I mean, I think it's amazing. It would have been more amazing had he done it without the tools of money and NIL. Right?
Well, he wouldn't have.
Right.
He would never have, in my opinion, he would have never won. Indiana would never win a national championship in football without NIL and portal, right?
But he does it bringing in a bunch of 3-star guys.
Yeah.
He does it bringing in a bunch of group of 5 studs
Right.
and changing that culture. At that point, what's Mike Norvell's excuse? I mean,
Right. No, there is none.
No, you're right.
Florida State's got so much more brand. They got, in theory, they got a lot more money. It's the place that is where 5 stars
They have
want to
part
go.
of Norvell's salary. I think part of his
That's
salary.
true.
$3.4 million.
Yep.
He contributed to the NIL fund. Listen, he has no excuse, and I think
I don't think anybody has an
I think we're
excuse
going to be
now.
looking at some real pressure.
Yeah. And that's the hard part, though.
Right.
Everybody now has these tools that we're talking about. So you said
So does Dabo.
100%. So that's my point. Nobody has an excuse now, unless you're like, little old college that doesn't get any whatever. I'm sure there are schools out there that will still never win that. My point being, if you're a Clemson, if you're a Florida State, none of those coaches have an excuse.
Right.
They should be able to do it. It's just a matter of being able to evaluate talent and the culture. You talked about that's a big part of it as well. And the quarterback play, I mean, the run that he had on 4th and 5.
Oh my gosh, it was 4th and Missoula.
Yeah.
That's the play they call it. I've never seen. I mean, he got caught and then he got loose and then he got
turns out of it.
He took a hit right to the rib cage that I thought that guy's going to go down.
No doubt.
Okay, so he could stretch over the line of the goal line. I just thought that is a young man who said, "I'm winning this."
That's right.
We're here to win this. We're not here to get a field goal.
Yeah.
Okay, we're not here to do anything but to win this game. And that's a culture that no matter how many great players you have, unless you have that culture, that we're going to take those players and we're going to convert you to winners.
Sure.
And you're going to believe in winners and you're going to play like a team, then you're never going to have it.
And
Otherwise, every single team in NCAA would be, topped up.
And his reward is he gets to go play for the Raiders.
I know, and take a pay cut. Take a pay cut, right? I think it's $800,000 for a rookie. Yeah. So he's going to take a pay cut. Yeah.
So you mentioned Duke a minute ago. Now we're in a similar situation to what we had last time we had you on with Damon Williams, the quarterback from Washington. Now that's going on at Duke.
Right.
Darian Mensah, shocker, it's Miami that's trying to throw a lot of money, trying to get him to break his NIL contract. Is this a necessary step to fixing problems, or is this just another ugly element of what college football is going to become, where it's schools essentially, for lack of a better word, suing players to keep them on campus?
Well, I think that if you do that, you don't have the player anymore.
True.
Right?
Good point.
I think it's all part of the ugliness of NIL and the portal. But I will say this: if he wants to go, let him go. Okay, you got the money, buy another one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you can't now. It's too late. The portal's closing and all the best players are gone, and then Miami sneaks in at the last minute.
He has to petition the NCAA to be able to do it, but that's the case. But it's too late for him to move. Then why is it? Then how can they even do it?
Because he entered his name into the transfer portal at the very last second.
Right?
Very last second.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think Miami's a bad place for him. To be honest with you.
Well,
given
the character, it feels like it's the right place for him.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, this is what I don't like about it, is that it's no longer your heart and soul and your alumni and your home team. It is your business.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
That's right.
And every person is on their own brand.
Yeah.
And this is not where college football should be. NFL maybe, but not college.
Melissa, my last question for you, and we got to get off to a break in a few minutes. We're having Ashley Chastain Woodard, the Gamecock softball coach, on the show. We started the show with this. I want to know from Melissa level, Diesel and I were talking about if we had a glass of water and we had the buckets out in front of us, one being like the football junkie bucket, the basketball junkie, casual fans, the golf guy, the baseball junkie, and the event watchers, those who only watch the Olympics and All-Stars. where would you say as a sports fan you would put most of your water in terms of what buckets, what sports interest you over the next 3 to 6 months?
Okay, well, I would have the football bucket because I'd be watching that constantly, and all the way through, even spring games and everything. So I'd have the college and pro football bucket. I would have the NCAA dance.
March Madness.
March
Love
Madness
that.
would definitely go into that. I like some NASCAR. So you didn't have that water glass, but I'm kind of a NASCAR fan too.
Well, NASCAR's fixing itself. They're undoing some of the wonky playoff rules. Kind of taking us back.
I'm a NASCAR fan, and you know what? You didn't even have hockey in there. How can you have hockey?
Is there anything better than the hockey playoffs?
No, I love it.
There's a lot of things better.
Oh, stop.
Okay. And you know what? You can have local hockey too, which is really crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, who in the world thought ever that a Florida hockey team would win the Stanley Cup, right?
Right.
Okay, in Florida. I mean, but I believe in basketball. I'm not a big. It's such a heart attack game for me. Basketball is to watch. Yeah. Okay, so I'll watch the tournament part, and then of course I love football and I love some NASCAR. That'd be my first three.
Melissa, we love you. We appreciate you being here with us. Every other Wednesday, you're on location with us.
That's right.
We'll see you again in a couple of weeks. Of course, be safe getting around up in Black Mountain. Y'all are going to get hit with this a little more than we are.
I think it's going to be all of us. So take care of your neighbors and come by and see us.
Yep,
Melissa,
absolutely.
you're the best. Thanks so much.
That is Melissa Level, marketing director here at Ingles Markets. We love having her on. And Cole.
Ashley Chastain Woodard, the head softball coach at South Carolina. We had her on the show last year. She's phenomenal. She did a phenomenal job last year. Diesel just this far away from reaching the biggest stage in the sport. We'll talk to Ashley Chastain Woodard, head softball coach at South Carolina, next.
wire to wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson on the Fan Upstate.
Time to talk South Carolina Gamecock softball right here on the Fan Upstate as we are joined by head coach Ashley Chastain Woodard for the second time. She joined us last year on the Fan Upstate, and we are privileged to talk to Coach Ashley Chastain Woodard one more time before the season starts here in a few weeks. Coach, number one, appreciate you coming on as always, and your time we're very appreciative of. Number two, I want to know if this myth is true or not. When you talk about momentum, can momentum be carried into the next season? Because you guys had a spectacular 2024, unbelievable season in conference play and in the postseason. Came up a little bit short to UCLA. But as a head coach, is that something you try to carry or notice in terms of the momentum from last year's team, even though it's a completely different team coming into the 2026 season?
Yes, well, good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me on again. And yeah, to answer your question, I do think that the momentum that we had from last season does carry into this group. And as you alluded to, this team is very different.
Yep.
And we definitely want to create our own identity and celebrate, who we have in the locker room this year. But I do think that there are milestones and momentum and just a legacy that was left by last year's team that you build upon. And I do think that you can still feel the legacy that a lot of the players left and our newer players and our players that were back from last year's team. You can just feel their belief and their motivation, is a lot different. So I think once you knock down certain doors, there's no going back within a program. So I felt the momentum really on all fronts of the program since we got done playing last summer.
Coach Woodard, it's Diesel here. You're 15 days away from your first game. You're a long way past pitchers and catchers reporting. Where are you at in terms of your preseason syllabus for preparation?
Yeah, I know it's hard to believe we're 15 days out. We're super excited about that. I think the official countdown around here is definitely on. But yeah, I really like where the team is at holistically. And I think there's a couple major differences in this year's team than last year's team. If we're going to just compare, apples to apples, I think, you alluded to pitching and catching. We've been back since January 4th. And, we ramp up all fall and then they stay ramping up through December, even though it's their own training. So we've been going live since early January. So we actually had an inter squad today. And so our pitchers and catchers they've been going live a lot over the past couple weeks. And I think they're very ready for the start of the season. I think one of the biggest differences is just the depth of pitching that we had. We lost a lot in Sam Gress holistically. Yep. From a teammate, just from how dynamic she was as a leader, but also her skill set. But I do think that we have more pitching this year. We have 7 arms, that we have a lot of quote unquote stuff in the bullpen. We've got an experienced Josie Marin transferring from Mississippi State who has proven success in the league. We're returning our most experienced veteran on staff, Jory Hurd, who this is year 4 in the league as a Gamecock. And then I've been really impressed with Emma Friedel, our transfer from Kennesaw State. She has a ton of stuff to provide weapons and get hitters out. So I'm really excited I think this is going to be a really transformative year for her and kind of a breakout on the senior. But we have 7 arms. Neely Lamb looks really good. She won 10 games for us last year. So I think we're going to have a lot of options and definitely be able to provide a lot of insight, like weapons towards hitters and a lot of options that maybe we didn't even have last year.
Coach, when you talk about transfer portal players coming into your program, we talk about this a lot on the football side of things and even on the college basketball side of things as well. Walk us through what your process is, your staff's process, when it comes to just evaluating talent, because you mentioned a transfer in from Kennesaw State. How do you and your staff go about finding obviously talented players, but still at the same time girls who are a fit for your program?
Yeah, I think that applies a little bit to like an Emma Friedel, to a Lou Hovermill, to a Tate Davis. We try to look just at the player individually, and some of these guys didn't have as much experience coming into South Carolina to us as a transfer from their previous school, but we recruited them from high school. Like, we've seen them play a lot, and obviously they went somewhere else originally. So we kind of like think back to the player that they were in high school and travel ball and kind of say, like, in our development system, we think we can make them a lot better and be able to help them play the game at this level. So we look for tools. I mean, Katie talks about a lot, our associate head coach, we want speed and power, that plays. And in Emma Friedel's case, Emma did throw a lot at Kennesaw State. Her team didn't have a lot of success as a program, but if you really dive into her statistics, her swing and miss rate was really, really high. So I think it was someone that maybe has some experience. You look for certain key factors in their statistical outings, in their statistical menu of just saying, is there something there that we feel like will help us win at a really high level? So, we bring them in, we make them Gamecocks and just give them a great experience. And holistically, we believe that, our development system, and once they're really happy in our program here on campus, that really the sky's the limit for their ceiling and for them to be able to perform, here for us.
Talking to Ashley Chastain Woodard, the softball coach at South Carolina. Apologies for all the background noise, Coach. We're doing a live show on location, and if you can believe it, it's wild inside of a grocery store today. Things are crazy with this weather coming our way. Let's talk about that rotation again there for just a second. You talked about having a lot of stuff, and from watching a lot of softball, you see kind of one arm sort of dominate towards the end of the season, get a lot of reps. Who do you see is probably going to be that stud on your rotation this year? And on top of that, just as far as what kind of stuff they have, like velocity, movement, how do these pitchers play out?
Yeah, I think the obvious choice, if we're talking, who you feel like is going to be, who I feel like is going to be on the field a lot for us in postseason would be Jory Hurd. Jory's got a lot of experience. She's got a lot of ball flight, and her velo is very high. She's one of our harder throwers, touching 70 often. And Jory's the best she's ever been. She's the best that she's looked in my years of scouting her as an opponent, and then obviously now year 2 being her coach. So I think the obvious choice is Jory Hurd. There's a lot of trust with the program with her because we've, had so much experience with her. I think that if anyone gives a run for the money as far as, kind of down the stretch and postseason, I envision a lot of Emma Friedel. Emma throws both sides of the plate with a lot of different spin. And so she just has a lot of options. She has true vertical separation, which is really rare, and it makes her really, really good. And credit to our pitching coach, Zach Parsons, and her, who worked really hard in developing a better off-speed pitch in the off-season, which I think was the piece that she was missing coming into the program. Velo-wise, she's a little bit more mid-sixes than I would say. Jory's a little bit more high sixes, but both get a ton of swing and miss with their tools. And so I'm excited for both of those guys. And they've got the intimidation factor. I mean, they're physical. Both of them are over 6 feet tall. I mean, they just, look the part, rolling out in an SEC series. So I'm really excited about both of them. And it's important to get everybody on the field, to all 7 of our arms throughout the season, because you want to keep those guys fresh. So you don't want to wear them down too early, and that's why you want to give other people opportunity to throw early.
We're joined by Ashley Chastain Woodard right here on the Fan Upstate. Coach, what a season it was a year ago from Quincy Lilio. How in the world does a player like that, transferred in from Oklahoma a couple of seasons ago, she had an incredible season in 2025, one of the best in the country. How does Quincy improve on what she did last year? While that sounds, crazy, sounds foreign, because in 2025, she was really, really good. Like I said, one of the best in the country. So how do you take what she did last year but also improve on that?
Yeah, I think Q had a breakout year. I think she fell back in love with the game. She really honed in on her skill set and honestly had a ton of confidence that grew throughout the year with the success that she had. I think if you were talking directly to her, I think there's some things about her defensive game as an outfielder that she's really focused on here in the offseason and in our training. And she had a great offensive year, but she's a two-sided player for us. And, she's going to play the outfield every day. So I think there were just some aspects to her outfield play that she really wanted to improve on. And she looks great. She's looked really good in the back half of the fall and then in the month of January defensively. And there's always things that she's going to say she needs to work on offensively, but I think her pitch selection is elite. And I think, she swings at strikes and she takes balls. She draws a lot of walks. She's really good for us at the top of the order. So we're just trying to build on that success that she had last year and just almost take a little pressure off of her. I think holistically our offense is bigger and stronger and faster. And so, I think we're going to have more options just to not make our top of the order feel like they have to produce for us all the time. So taking a little pressure off offensively. And then I think she's gotten a lot better defensively.
Coach, I've said many times on this show, and I know a lot of our listeners feel the same way, that softball is just a better product than watching college baseball. I think it's a better fan experience at the collegiate level. You get the smaller, more intimate stadiums. They get packed. They get raucous. Coaches wear a lot of hats, and I just wonder, have you had to pay much attention, or have you put your fingerprint on the game day experience inside the stadium as far as curation goes, or do you get to leave that up to other folks?
We have a wonderful team within our department here at Carolina, and they take a lot of pride in their fan experience. And so, we try to give everybody a wonderful experience when they come watch our team play. Obviously, my main priority is the product on the field. So my biggest focus is the team and making sure that when people show up to see us play, or do they buy season tickets, that there's going to be a certain level of play that happens. But I agree with you. I mean, the sport is booming. It's really exciting to watch. Now, if you were talking to Coach Maneri, I don't know if he would appreciate your comments about softball being better to watch than baseball, but we'll have to joke with him about that. It is a little different in that way. It's a little bit more condensed. It's a little bit faster paced. I know, even though they've worked to make baseball faster, which I think they've done a great job of that. Yeah. But, as far as the fan experience, our ticketing and our marketing department and our event staff, we take a lot of pride in being able to put on a really great event every time our gates open and the team hits the field. And there's a lot of people that go into those conversations. I'm just a very small piece of those conversations.
Coach, my last question for you. When you talk about evaluating what happened a season ago, when you go into the offseason, you know what your needs are, right? You know where you want to improve for the next season. How much as a head coach do you not have to allow, or how much do you to try to minimize what happened at the end of the season against UCLA? Not in a bad way, but you know how we are, just naturally as humans. We always remember the very last thing that happened, right? The most recent memory we have. And for you guys, that most recent loss was those two losses to UCLA that ended the season. I guess what I'm getting at here as a head coach in your position, how do you focus big picture on everything that you learned throughout the entirety of the season and not just those two games that were obviously really difficult losses?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a lot of conversation through the fall. It was a thing when it ended. There was no one that was in our stadium that wanted it to end how it did, and I think it took a little time for us all to move on. Now, as a staff, we were in the transfer window already, so we didn't have much time to really, I would say, almost grieve, right? Like, you kind of grieve when things are over, because we didn't want that team to be done playing together because it was so much fun. But once we got through transfer season, I think as a staff, we really sat down and started to evaluate the season as a whole when you can remove your emotions, from the ending. And then we just kind of focused on, okay, what do we want to take from that experience and really instill in the next group, which got on campus in August. And then you kind of think about, there's a handful of players that are going to play every day for us this year that weren't even a part of that experience. Now, did they watch it from afar? Yes. Could they feel the energy and want to be a part of it? Obviously, because they're here. But I think it's important for the returning players to use it in the right way. So to motivate them to be better, to have a taste of what playing softball at the end of the season feels like, so that they kind of keep a chip on their shoulder and it motivates them, but it can't haunt them. It can't haunt Ari Rhodey or Lexi Winters or Carly Shelton or Quincy Lelio, but you want it to fuel them in a good way. So I think we talked a lot about that through the fall and creating our own identity from that experience with this year's team. And like I said, there's a handful of players that are going to be on the field for us every day that didn't go through that experience with us. And so, there was a great spirit of talking about it at the beginning, but we've moved on from that, and we've celebrated that team and honor their legacy every day by showing up to work and making the program better. So I'm excited about this group, and we are really talented. We've got more pitching, like I alluded to. We're we're faster and more powerful as an offense. I think that's a really big highlight for this group is just how good we're going to be offensively. We've got a lot of power all the way through the order. So, we want to make sure that the focus is on this group and what we can do together and honor the legacy that last year's team left.
Coach, you've never been able to separate finances from college athletics, and it's never been more true than it is right now. Tell us about how you see NIL from your seat and, those on your team. Who's doing a fantastic job just crushing it in the NIL space?
Yeah, NIL has a big presence in our program, and honestly, it has a big presence in college softball across the country. So we see it as a really great opportunity for our players to represent themselves, but also represent our program, to be able to get out in the community and make connections and, be more on the front lines in the face of the program. So Ari Rhodey, Emma Friedel, Jory Hurd, Quincy Lelio, those guys do a really good job at the community aspect of NIL, of really kind of being, like I said, the front-facing aspect of our program. I will say one of our new players, Precious Bross, she's a hometown hero. She played at Irma High School here in the Columbia area. She transferred from Georgia. She has been crushing the NIL space, and she's been doing a lot in the community with little girls and, just people that really look up to our program, that are fans of our program. And it's just such a great bridge, to be able to, get out in the community and represent not only our program, but also the city of Columbia. She's been doing a really good job of that and really impressed with, her desire to represent us really well in that space. So it's a great opportunity, and I'm just always blown away by the opportunities that our team has, to really represent themselves in our program. I mean, it's just so different than when I played, and I think it's a wonderful thing, and it should be celebrated. And obviously, the more success we have, the more comes our way, and I don't want them to feel pressure by that by any means, but I do think they're definitely capitalizing on people paying attention to what we're doing.
Well, Coach, congratulations on the success you've already had. Best of luck this season in 2026. And I know the Gamecock fans listening here in the Upstate are wishing you and your team the same. Thank you so much for your time as always.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Coach. Ashley Chastain Woodard. What'd you say, 15 days, 3 weeks?
Yeah.
From this thing kicking off.
2 weeks in a day, man.
That's
it's coming
unbelievable.
Up fast.
She's awesome, by the way. She is not only an awesome coach, but a great person. There have been so many positive reviews from people that we've heard from, that I've talked to in Columbia inside the athletic program, Diesel, that just love that hire. And I think Ashley Chastain Woodard is only scratching the surface, in terms of what their success can be. Last year, what they did, that was a tough way, man. They won that first game against UCLA, and I remember watching that game thinking, gosh, they've got the momentum. They've just got to win one more. And, having that taste of success for those that, like she pointed out, for those that are still on the team, I think that's important to be able to taste what it's like to be so close, Diesel.
1 out away from going to the College World Series in her first year. It was it's an amazing accomplishment for what she was able to put together there in her first year. And, hey, it makes you think that this year the sky's the limit. This program could really be on a trajectory for something special this season, and it's going to be fun to watch. And am I wrong there for saying that softball is a more fun product to watch? Because it is, to me, watching college softball is awesome. Well, it's better.
It's faster paced, and for people like me who are ADHD, it's a lot easier. You mentioned it, close environments, great facility, great turnouts. It's a lot of fun. There's no doubt. It's a lot of fun.
Both universities here in South Carolina, the major universities, they enjoy a lot of success at both baseball and softball. Their facilities are packed. Their facilities are rocking every single time they play at home. My sister, who is an alum of Clemson, she can't get tickets to softball games because they're so hard to come by.
They're good.
And they're always
John
backed out.
Does a good job too, man.
And things down at South Carolina are the same way.
Hey, real quick, on the Joy Law Firm text line, Tom in Somerville gets in. This is pretty good. He says, tell Dewey that Chris Justice is providing updates right now about the weather on Facebook.
Oh,
we
Dewey.
hadn't heard Dewey complaining about the weather today, have we?
You hadn't been reading the stream comments because he is taking a bite out of Chris Justice's hind end
This is
on the
so
stream.
good, man.
I told you, man, I am tweeting at Chris Justice as often as I can to try to get him on the air. Melissa told me she knows Chris because I guess she's dealt with him through
Melissa
Ingles.
knows everybody.
She knows everybody. There's an old game, 6 degrees of separation. Really, it's 1 degree if you know Melissa level.
Yeah, it's true.
So we need to see if we can get Chris Justice on the air.
Chris versus
to
Dewey.
have it out with Dewey.
I'm gonna tell you. Let me tell you, that would be radio gold. I mean, I have no idea if Chris Justice would ever even come. He'd probably think you and I are just lunatics, and that's okay. But Dewey and Chris Justice on the phone together, going at each other.
Those TV guys, they're a different breed from us radio boys.
It would be incredible. I mean, that's got to be lined up. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. That's got to happen. But Dewey, we're gonna get something. I think it's safe to say from all the models out there, right, Diesel?
By models, do you mean like runway models or
no? What do you call them? Weather models.
Oh,
not
I thought you meant like
or,
Yannet Garcia.
No.
As in the weather model.
No, a different kind of model here. From the forecasted weather models, it looks as if we're going to get something. Just don't know if it's going to be snow. Don't know if it's going to be ice. I do think in the last 24 hours, and I'm not an expert here, it looks as if after the Ingles message gets done. It's so loud, isn't it?
You didn't realize we were doing our show from an airplane tarmac.
It sounds like it.
Gosh.
I do think in the last 24 hours, unfortunately, it shifted from more snow to more ice.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get some like Saturday night, all day Sunday. And then the problem is, here's what you got to realize, Diesel. On Monday and Tuesday, I was looking at this earlier. You've got basketball next week, like kids going back to school, Furman, Burns, all this stuff, all these games. Well, here's the problem. You looking at my phone right now, I want you to tell me what the low is on Monday.
Oh, my.
That would be a 1 and a 0.
10.
10.
10.
So
unlock the doors, let the kids come back inside. It's going to get cold.
So what I'm saying, did you see Wednesday?
No, I don't like that at all.
That is
I don't like that at all.
That means it's going to get really, really cold, and all that ice is not going to go anywhere. You know how we are in South Carolina. If there's ice, those kids won't be in school at all next week.
Right.
I mean, they'll cancel the whole week. No. So that's what I'm saying. It's going to be down in the teens next week. You talk about cold, that stuff's not going to go anywhere. So even if it's not like a tremendous amount of ice, Diesel, I just don't think it's going to be warm enough on Monday and Tuesday. So just like Melissa said, stay safe out there. Take care of your neighbors. That's a big thing as well. Just check on the people, your family and your neighbors and things like that, because you just never know. I mean, it could be bad in one part of Spartanburg or Greenville or Anderson, but not too bad in other parts.
I do want to caution all of our Tolos: do not get your weather advice from Dewey. Okay,
too late.
Do not get. He says Kendra Kent says it's going to rain. Bradford McGuffin on the stream says I agree based on my models.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
Again, don't get your weather advice from somebody that plays with model trains all day.
That's right.
Like Dewey does. Get your weather advice at the very least from your phone. Or listen to the experts. The experts get it wrong a lot, but they let you know what's coming.
Diesel, do you have an Alexa at home?
Not an Alexa. I got a Google device.
Okay, so you still talk to it and it has a voice?
Yeah.
What if you could set your voice on your home device to be Dewey?
No.
Can you do that? Custom? I mean, you talk about good morning, and it's just Dewey right back at you.
Is it? Hey Google, is it going to rain today? Yes. Yes,
that'd be
rain.
incredible.
It's going to be cold.
That would be so good. Oh, man. Big thanks to Ashley Chastain Woodard, though, for taking time to join us. She's awesome, and best of luck to them this season.
Hey, let's run off to a break because on the other side, we've got a lot of daily wires to get to. Going to get you updated on what's happening in the sports world next.
Clear. Got that live.
Well, Cole, we've talked South Carolina Gamecocks softball. We've talked NFL playoffs. It's time to see what else is going on out there in a segment we do every day called Our Daily Wires. Here's the buzz around the sports world. Clemson's 9-game win streak was snapped last night by none other than Will Wade and NC State. They beat Clemson by a score of 80-76 in overtime. Clemson went on a 5-minute scoring drought in the first half. They gave up 8 unanswered, gave up the lead, didn't get it back until a minute 12 to play in the second half. The game went to overtime, and, well, the Wolfpack took the game.
Yeah, kind of following that game last night, it never seemed like it was Clemson's night. And again, toward the end, they surged, like you just said, overtime. There were glimpses of hope, but I just felt like North Carolina State was in control of it. So you have those nights. They won 9 in a row, and in the ACC, you're going to get everybody's best.
Well, I mean, they had to fight back from essentially a 10-point first half deficit, and it felt like they shot everything they had.
No doubt.
At the very end of that game. And hey, this Will Wade team is 13-6 on the season. They're a good basketball team. It's not like they got beat by a team that was sub 500. Furman is back in action tonight against the Citadel. Pre-game is at 6:30. Dan Scott going to be on the call. We're going to have it for you right here on the Fan Upstate.
Let's go.
LA Chargers are expected to hire former Dolphins coach Mike McDaniel as their new offensive coordinator. We know how that went for Mike in Miami. It wasn't great, but when he was dedicated OC for San Francisco in 2021, his offense averaged .388 a game that season. He interviewed for multiple head coaching and offensive coordinator positions since the Dolphins fired him.
Hey, maybe. We've talked about this. You and I have Diesel. Some people just aren't cut out for head coach. Maybe he's a good coordinator.
Hey, you can make a lot of money being a really good coordinator in the NFL.
That's right.
And there's a lot less pressure on you when you're the offensive coordinator. Trust me, he knows it all falls on the head coach. The Buffalo Bills, in a head-scratcher, Cole, have interviewed Brian Daboll for their head coaching job, 20-40 as the head coach of the Giants. Led them to a playoff berth in 2022, but it couldn't stick, the success. He was the Bills' OC from 2018 to 2021. They fired Sean McDermott, who went 98-50 with Buffalo, and are looking at a guy that went 20-40.
I tweeted this out earlier. Sometimes, Diesel, the NFL just makes you scratch your head. Like, look, I'm not saying Brian Daboll's a horrible coach, but how in the world you fire Sean McDermott and hire Matt Campbell in his place? I mean, again, I just think there's so many parallels with that Penn State thing. I know, look, it's NFL. But I'm telling you, they want it out. They want to get rid of James Franklin. Well, we got to go get Matt Campbell.
Yeah.
Oh, you want rid of Sean McDermott? You're going to go get Brian Daboll? I mean, what are we doing?
We're going to debate that, by the way, coming up at 6 o'clock. Which one is ultimately going to be the biggest blunder? Penn State getting rid of James Franklin or the Buffalo Bills getting rid of Sean McDermott? The center field roster of the Baseball Hall of Fame grew deeper yesterday with the announcement that Carlos Beltran and Andrew Jones were selected for induction.
Our guy, Andrew Diesel, former Brave. Hey, and quick note, Andrew Jones, a little local tie right here, played for the Greenville Braves for a 2-week span during his career. So, as a Braves fan, obviously love Andrew Jones, what he did for us, and that's awesome to see.
Man, I would love to see I really wish, and I'm sad that I wasn't here for it, for the G Braves having the AA team. That you're getting major leaguers coming in and out on assignment and rehab, and you get a chance to see some of those guys play right here in your hometown. That's great. Baker Mayfield, we talked about this earlier, took a swipe at the new Atlanta Falcons head coach Kevin Stefanski in a social media post yesterday. Stefanski was Mayfield's coach with the Cleveland Browns in 2020 and 2021. Mayfield wrote that he was still waiting on a text or a call after the Browns shipped him off like a piece of garbage. He added, "Can't wait to see you twice a year, coach."
I love it. I don't have an issue with it. More reason to watch NFC South football.
Look, we need more and more and more personalities. We talk about this all the time. Football players, they're hidden inside of a uniform, and they're hidden inside of a helmet for most of the game. We don't get to hear from them. We rarely get to talk to them on a candid level. And Baker's not afraid of putting himself out there.
I like that.
Motor City Cruise G League player Charles Bediako has been granted a temporary restraining order and is immediately eligible to participate for Alabama basketball.
Wow.
Who are the Motor City Crews? That's an NBA G League team. Cole, he is a professional. He signed a contract. Now he's coming back to college basketball.
Yep, and we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. I mean, this is the can of worms that we've opened up, and I think it was Calipari who went off on it. It makes no sense to me.
It's another one of those reasons why, we talked about this yesterday with the number of players finding a home in the transfer portal shrinking in football. This is part of the reason, because we got guys staying longer, coming back, taking up roster spots that should be going to freshmen coming out of high school.
Sure, no doubt.
Former NFL reporter Michelle Tafoya has announced that she wants to be a U.S. Senator in Minnesota. She is announcing her candidacy, citing a need for responsible leadership in the state of Minnesota.
How about that?
She's in a crowded field, Cole. A lot of people want this Senate seat as it was just vacated. The WNBA's 2026 season will kick off on May 8th with the Toronto Tempo and the Portland Fire making their debut as expansion franchises. The Tempo going to face the Washington Mystics in their opening game, and the Fire will play against Chicago the next day.
Interesting.
Very cool.
Diesel, I want to know. We've got to take a different angle on this. When it comes to Indiana, Miami, I'm still in awe of what Indiana did. I want to ask you and the Tolos a question in the very next segment. Who deserves more credit for what happened on Monday? Kurt Signetti or Fernando Mendoza? We'll dive into it next. Well, somebody has to get more credit than the other, right? That's just the way it works, Diesel. When Tom Brady and Bill Belichick had their divorce, we discussed and asked the question, well, who was more responsible for the New England Patriots dynasty? Was it Tom Brady or was it Bill Belichick? And very quickly, we found out it was Tom Brady. I want to know from you, as well as the Tolos out there. Joy Law Firm text line open. Phone lines are open as well at 844-326-3663. What Indiana did, I'm still in awe of. Almost like a kid at Christmas. I just can't believe, Diesel, that we're talking about Indiana football winning and bringing home a national championship. I want to know, though, and I want to hear from you and the Tolos on this. 844-FAN-PHONE, FANFONE. Who deserves more credit? Curt Cignetti or Fernando Mendoza?
It's a very good question.
Somebody's got to have a little more credit than the other, right?
Yeah, one is the architect of everything that Indiana football is right now. The other one touches the ball on every single play.
That's fair.
You know, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, if you're talking about the case of Brady and Belichick, we have the answer, right? When they split up and went their separate ways, Tom Brady won another Super Bowl. Bill Belichick left the sport entirely.
Yeah.
We now know that it was more Tom Brady than it was Bill Belichick. That doesn't mean you could take away all credit from Bill Belichick. That doesn't mean that you could put Tom Brady on a Matt Rule-led team and say, hey, he's going to go win a Super Bowl. It's not a guarantee that would happen. But in this situation, I do believe that I have to give more credit to Curt Cignetti.
Really?
Yeah, the architect of this team. He created a whole new culture for this team, and that culture is we win. Google it. He, instead of saying we're just going to throw Mark Cuban's money around and get the best 4 and 5 star players we can get, we're going to build this program differently. And I believe, and I'm not taking anything away from Fernando Mendoza here, I believe that Curt Cignetti could have turned a lot of decent quarterbacks from other schools into a type of quarterback that could win a lot of games with that team.
And you know what? I guess we'll find out, right? I guess we'll find out. And unfortunately, Diesel, Fernando Mendoza will be judged on how he does with the Las Vegas Raiders, even though that's a dumpster fire.
It's not fair.
That's not fair. Now, Curt Cignetti will be judged in a more fair way. I'm going to disagree with you. I'm going to say Fernando Mendoza deserves more credit for Indiana's success. Here's why. I believe quarterback play raises the floor as well as the ceiling. Indiana didn't just become a better coached football team. They got competent and really good at the most important position and positions in sports. Fewer bad turnovers at quarterback, better third down efficiency at quarterback, sustained drives instead of quick punts. You know, Indiana used to not even have a quarterback on the roster, Diesel. They just had a punter because they never needed a quarterback.
They had 3 punters.
They had 3 punters. They thought they could do both. Now Indiana has a quarterback and a punter. They didn't use the punter much this year. I think that Cignetti deserves so much credit, and we're going to get to the phone lines in a second. But when you talk about the one, Diesel, who's on the field solving those problems in real time, Cignetti scripts the game plan. Mendoza has to read the coverages post-snap, pre-snap, handle the pressure, make the right decision in 2.5 seconds. And when things break down, you're not asking Curt Cignetti to go make a play. You're not asking Curt Cignetti to reach across the goal line on the 4th and 5 and figure out a way to win. Curt Cignetti deserves so much credit, but I just think that Fernando Mendoza deserves a little more.
Are you trying to tell me that Fernando Mendoza would have been a Heisman caliber player anywhere else, right? Like if Fernando Mendoza is playing at Iowa, if he's playing at Rutgers, because let's be real, Indiana and Rutgers, not that different when you take away the last 2 years. As a matter of fact, you could say back in those, who was the coach for Rutgers back in the day? They had more success in their history than Indiana had. So, I mean, you look at Fernando Mendoza's numbers. He was a 63% completion kind of quarterback in 2023 at Cal. That went up to 68% last year under Curt Cignetti, and it went up to 72% this year under Curt Cignetti. His rating is through the roof. I think coaching deserves a tremendous amount of credit here, and Curt Cignetti, in my mind, could have taken a lot of quarterbacks and really improved them.
Well, hear me say this. Coaching 110% does matter. There's no doubt. I'm not denying that. It does matter. And having the right coach, Diesel, and the right quarterback together, I think is really, number one, really, really difficult to do. Number two, that's when you see national championships and Super Bowls. So
right. The truth is it takes a village, right? You have to have that synergy across the board. An elite coach with a terrible player, not going to win. A great player with a terrible coach, also not going to win. Speaking of elite or terrible, it's hard to tell which is which. Let's go to the phone lines and bring on Dewey, who's got something to say. Dewey, what's on your mind?
Oh, I'm neither. I disagree with both of y'all.
Okay.
How's that possible?
Well, first of all, I don't like y'all, so I'm going to always disagree with y'all.
Okay.
Secondly,
it's nothing we do.
I think they're both responsible for their winnings.
Wow.
Well, we know that, Dewey. We've said that.
Hard-hitting analysis, Dewey. Appreciate it.
We've said that. We know that they're both, but one has to be more responsible. Who's more responsible, Dewey?
Well, that Cignetti person, he came in with an attitude. He went whipped those boys in the shake. He said, Google me. And everyone got scared. They probably had more doing push-ups and sit-ups and running laps or whatever. But anyways, he took Indiana team who hasn't won nothing in 1,000 years and all of a sudden made them national championships. But you want to know what's really responsible for all that? It ain't the coach. It ain't the quarterback. It's NIL and the transfer portal. You take them out of the equation, as bad as Indiana used to be back in the day, Curt Cignetti probably couldn't even fix that.
So you're telling me that James Madison could have won a national championship with these players? Because Curt Cignetti was there, and half of these players came from James Madison.
Well, James Madison also plays Tinkerbell teams, too.
Tinkerbell teams.
And you see how that worked out for them when they went to Oregon.
Yeah.
You talk about Bill Belichick. He brings the party, and if he goes back to the NFL and wins, it's going to be because of he goes to the Bills, for example. Josh Allen's going to be the reason. You take Josh Allen out of that equation, Bill Belichick's going to suck. But in this case, in Indiana's case, it's the coach. The coach brought the power and the quarterback, but he's going to go off to bigger and better things and make billions of dollars in the NFL before he breaks his neck. And that's okay. But we're going to see how well Indiana does without Fernando Mendoza.
So I think you agreed with both of us. Good job there. Let me ask you this, Dewey. Can I break some bad news to you?
Yeah.
All right. Number one, I'm going to break the bad news. And then number two, you listen to the fan ups. You're a Tolo. You turn it on and leave it on. You hear these promos and things that we do, right, throughout the day, right? You know what a promo is? Okay. After I tell you the bad news, can you then instantly react and cut a promo with what I'm about to tell you? And we'll cut it and edit it, but can you voice it?
Oh, voice it.
All right. You ready? Furman basketball will not be playing on Saturday. The bad news, you will not get a full normal wire-to-wire on Friday. Furman basketball is now playing at 3 o'clock on Friday, which means wire-to-wire on Friday will only last from 6 to 7, a very shortened edition of the show. Your reaction, and can you cut a promo for us with your voice?
Well, that's a travesty. But anyways, you come and watch Furman basketball at 3 p.m. and then that's the wire come on, and they'll talk about Furman basketball from 6 to 7 p.m. Oh.
Thank you, Dewey. Hey, Dewey, are you still with us?
Yeah.
Okay, so we were talking about who's responsible for winning the national championship for Indiana, Signetti or Fernando Mendoza. Can you tell us one thing that you are responsible for?
I'm responsible for walking the dog.
Ah, that's incredible. That's
did you do it yet today?
No, he peed. No, but I need to before he pees in my house.
Thanks,
I don't
Dewey.
want him to do that.
Thanks, Dewey.
Oh.
He's also responsible for this. I'll tell you what he's responsible for. This is no lie. The number one question that I am asked when I'm out in public and I see somebody run into somebody, Diesel, that says, hey, listen to the show, love the show. You know what the first thing they ask? Is that Dewey guy real? It doesn't matter if
I question it every day.
Diesel, it doesn't matter if I'm at the grocery store, at church, at a ball game. Somebody always, what is that Dewey guy? Is he really so he's responsible for that.
As real as it gets, I guess.
He's as
it's wild stuff.
He's as real as it gets. 844-326-3663. I can't talk.
I know. Dewey has that effect on a lot of people. Call
844-326-3663. What's the scene? Real as a. Oh my gosh, you're a movie guy. I'm drawing a blank. There's a word we can't say on the radio after, but it's real as a blank. Somebody will text me, and it shows up on my reels all the time. Yeah. You talked about Dewey being as real as a blank. I have to Google it. Anyways,
I don't know.
I'm surprised because you're a movie buff. I'll find it. Nonetheless, Fernando Mendoza. The second part of this. Let's say it happens, which I think it will. He goes to the Las Vegas Raiders, and we said a minute ago, it will be unfairly judged based on what Las Vegas does or doesn't do around them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Geno Smith, let's set the record straight here. Geno Smith's not a bad quarterback. Las Vegas doesn't have a quarterback problem. Las Vegas has an organizational problem. And I don't know that bringing a quarterback into that situation, real quick before we get back to the phones, and we'll go to Somerville because Tom in Somerville's on the line, Diesel. But when you talk about Mendoza going into a situation, this is what I fear. Having a really good college quarterback go into a really bad NFL situation. Sometimes it goes into it. Sometimes the player goes into a good situation. But I fear that this could be another bad situation, just like we've seen in New York, just like we've seen in Cleveland. And I just pray that somehow, some way, Diesel, that the Las Vegas Raiders don't ruin Fernando Mendoza.
Well, here's what I'm afraid of, Cole. I saw a piece of audio or video clip. Somebody was asking Fernando Mendoza if he has a girlfriend. Does he have time to date while he's at Indiana? He said, no, I don't have time to date. I live a 3-minute walk away from the football facility. I don't date on Friday nights. I stay at home and take my dinner home and watch more tape to get ready for the game that week.
Yeah.
And he said his only focus has been to get to the NFL. Well, he's going to get to the NFL.
Yeah.
And now he's going to be dating in Las Vegas, Cole.
Yeah.
And
good luck.
Las Vegas is famous for a lot of things. And a certain population of ladies there in the city of Las Vegas could be very distracting to Fernando Mendoza.
I don't think he's that kind of guy. I think he'll block it out. Fernando Mendoza.
He's never going to date?
No, I'm just saying, like, he's not going to go date the kind of women that you're talking about.
He's not going to date until he retires.
You might find a good gal in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
You might. I'm not saying there's not any good gals out there. I'm just saying this kind of guy like you, when you hear him talk, he is locked in.
Mm-hmm.
He gets it. Let's go to Tom in Somerville. What's up, Tom?
Let's do it.
Hey, guys. So, quick question is, are we all in agreement that the Seattle Seahawks are going to win the Super Bowl with Sam Darnold as quarterback?
It's a good chance.
You talk about quarterbacks that were in a bad situation at one point in their NFL career. Sam Darnold is a quarterback that was in a bad situation. But here's what I would do if I was Fernando Mendoza. I would tell the NFL and Mark Davis, you can hold your horses, and I'm going to enter the transfer portal. Because if Fernando Mendoza were to enter the transfer portal right now, he would break the market and he would instantly become the highest paid player in college football history. Because why would you want to go play for the Raiders and get beat up for the next year when you could very easily become, a quarterback at a place like Miami and instantly be the richest player in college football and probably win another match?
Because I feel like he is a traditional old school type of player who I don't think he's into it for that, Tom.
Well, the issue with that is, though, Diesel, is he left Cal to go to Indiana last year.
Well, my point is that he's accomplished the highest honors that you can. He's got a Heisman and he's got a national championship. The only thing he could do next year is repeat both of those things or fall back and essentially hurt his draft stock. He is a guaranteed number 1 draft pick this year, Tom. And, anything wild could happen to take him out of it. I don't see that from him. I don't see him as the kind of guy that ducks out and maybe falls short.
So you don't see him as a Mad Cat, is what you're saying.
Who hasn't been here at all today.
No. And by the way, John Dog, real quick, Tom's on the Joy Law Firm text line just texted that in. He said, has Mad Crap called in yet to talk about the Miami loss? I told y'all Beck would choke. Saw it at Georgia too many times. Mad Cat, Mad Craft, Mad Dash has been MIA. No call. He is chickened out, I believe.
Well, maybe with all this snow we're getting, he's just busy hunkering down.
That's right.
Because that's what Chris Justice is telling everybody to do. So, Mad Cat, we're praying for you, buddy. I hope you're okay.
Thanks for.
And hopefully we'll hear from you soon. Go Gamecock.
Thanks,
it was
Tom.
55 degrees today, Cole. If Madcraft is hunkering down in 55-degree weather,
never know.
We're in a tough spot.
You never know.
Let's go to the phone lines and bring in PT in Greer, who wants to talk about Fernando Mendoza. PT, you're up.
Hey, guys. First of all, I wanted to say I was wrong about Cooper Flagg. I called in a long time ago, and I thought the guy was going to have a hard time in the NBA, but he surprised me. But about Mendoza, when he came out, he was 2-star.
Mm-hmm.
I got to give the coach all the credit for engineering this whole thing. I think the lucky part for Signetti, I guess he saw this in the kid, is his desire, like you were saying, Cole. I've never seen anybody so focused,
locked in
their job. But that was his talent. I think it's just that he's so locked in, and I think the coach deserves all the credit for seeing that in him. And again, a 2-star quarterback. It wasn't like he had his expectations were high. So that's what I wanted to mention, that I think the coach deserves all the credit for engineering this whole thing.
I like it. PT, great call, man. I appreciate you. Call back anytime. And the last thing I'll say before we run to a break real quick and bring on Lulu Kesson, I want to be very clear. Signetti deserves a ton of credit, especially for going for it. 4th and 5 the other day, Diesel, when Signetti had to make those decisions, right? The cojones decisions that he had to make. And then guess what? Fernando Mendoza is the one that goes out and makes the plays. I think Signetti deserves a ton of credit, but what Mendoza did on Monday, that kid was special.
Yeah, it's a special combo, Cole, and we don't know if Indiana's going to get back to the spot. If they do, then Signetti deserves even more credit, and it shows that he didn't just capture lightning in a bottle this year and last year, by the way. And that he's able to sustain it. I'm not saying that he's got to get back to the national championship game or win another one in the next 3 years to be a success, because winning one is a rare feat.
Huge.
There's a lot of big-time coaches in college football that never win a national championship. Let's get out to break, because on the other side, we're going to talk South Carolina Gamecocks again, talking women's basketball team and a lot of other things with Lulu Kesson of the Greenville News next.
Clear.
Diesel and Cole Bryson on the Fan Upstate.
Well, the South Carolina Lady Gamecocks might have taken a step down in competition this week, Cole, but the performance has not stepped down at all. A 90-48 victory on the road at Coppin State in their last outing. But as we were talking to Lulu Kesson of the state newspaper, Lulu, I want to go back to that Texas game that we were talking to you about the night, I think it was the night of or the night before it played. I want to get your thoughts on how that game ended. South Carolina had a 3-point lead. They get the ball inbounds with something like 8 seconds to go on the clock, and Texas just lets them dribble it out. What did you make of the ending of that game? I mean, that seems like a very obvious foul and keep the game alive scenario, but they were just happy to get out of there with a loss.
Ultimately, I think that ultimately at the end, there was sort of a little bit of okay, South Carolina was going to win this game. Do I think Texas should have maybe so obviously not fouled in that moment? No, but I think that in sort of the exact play design where I think it might have been Joyce Edwards, it might have been Raven Johnson, I can't fully remember off the top of my head, but sort of made a really nice cut to get the ball, and Rory Harmon was just pretty overextended and sort of just whiffed in a way trying to make a good effort play. And I think in that moment it was okay, do I sprint back down the court and chase her and foul when, it feels as though they have won the game. And so that's sort of what I make of that moment. I think the final score maybe depicts a little bit closer than the last minute and a half felt, which I understand a 3-point game is a 3-point game, but it sort of turned into the long kind of foul game in the last 2 minutes. And when Madison Booker missed a 3 on an inbounds play, it sort of felt like Texas was, I guess, kind of acknowledging that they had lost.
Lulu, it's really interesting when a team like South Carolina, as good as they are, takes down a team like Texas as good as they are. I wonder from the fan standpoint, and again, admitting that I'm not anywhere on any level to any of these coaches as talented as they are and as much as they know about the game of basketball, but when you beat a team like Texas in the middle of the season, it feels like it could be the mountaintop of all wins because it's a Vic Schaefer-led Texas team. We know how many times these two teams have, faced each other in the postseason. In your experience covering Dawn Staley, how does she continue to keep this team grounded after such an emotional high?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that kind of the cool thing, and not from a South Carolina fan perspective, but from a reporter perspective, the SEC is so good this year.
Yep.
I do think that Texas is one of those teams that just really challenges South Carolina in all level, every area, every level. They just have so much to work with on offense and on defense. And I think that the upcoming, assignments, I should say, for South Carolina players against a team like a Vanderbilt, an Oklahoma, a Texas A&M, a Kentucky, an LSU, those are very specific to a position. I think Texas is one of those teams that just challenges all 5 players at all 5 times. So to answer your question, I think the reason why Dawn's able is because nothing is sort of expected. Everything is earned. They don't go into it assuming, we're going to beat this team by 40 because we did this against them before. They acknowledge that every team is different this year, and the SEC is so hard, and they kind of can't take a play off because constantly teams are going to play South Carolina like it's their Super Bowl. When you get to a team like an LSU, a Tennessee, a Texas, a Kentucky, those are games where it's evenly matched. You might get a team, play you all 4 quarters. But when you have sort of these lower level SEC teams that haven't maybe had a winning season in a couple of years in the conference, you're going to get their best effort in the first quarter. And sometimes an entire quarter can be a difference maker. So I think Dawn knows hey, every quarter matters, every play matters. And that team definitely buys into that concept, even if maybe it's not as, big of a marquee game and they're coming off a game where, they played incredibly well and picked up this really statement win like they did on Thursday.
Lulu, apologize for the noise here. We're on location today, and it's a little wild inside of this Ingles market. Talk about Alicia Turnabize, who's 6'7". Being that size in college basketball for ladies isn't uncommon. There's a 7-footer playing at Texas Tech, a couple others out there playing at 6'5" or better. But from what you've seen of all those players and their athleticism and what you've seen of Alicia so far in her limited appearances, how does that kind of size play out in women's college basketball? Is it Is it sort of detrimental in the sense that it slows some of these players down considerably?
I'm not saying this as if she is better than Lauren Betts, but you look at someone like a 6'7" Lauren Betts, who's a really great traditional center. I think Elisa Turner, I think what she'll bring at 6'7" is a lot different in a very cool way. She's incredibly fast and she can dribble the ball down the court, which is uncommon to your point about sort of when you have a lot of height, it slows you down a little bit most of the time. But she has a really, really, really good outside jump shot and she can shoot the 3-pointer. She just diversifies what Dawn Staley has from a forward. And I think she brings a lot to a high-low game with a Joyce Edwards and can even play on the court with, 4 other guards and she's the 5, she's the center, but she can also play anywhere, honestly, from a 4 to a 3, sort of a small forward shooting guard position. So I think that it's going to take time, and Dawn sort of teased that today. It's going to be hard to get everything that she can give in a short amount of time, but they're just going to kind of chip away, see what she can get, see how comfortable she can get and she can be. But the sort of long game, long term, she just brings so much more than a typical 6'7" player does because of her ability to run the floor and shoot the ball.
Lulu Kesson of the Greenville News joining us right here on the Fan Upstate. I want to switch gears, Lulu, over to football. Now that South Carolina fans have kind of taken a few days and seen what Shane Beamer and company have done in the portal and in the last few weeks, where do you think Gamecock fans will stand, or will land rather, in terms of what they did in the portal and how that equates and translates into what those preseason expectations may be?
Yeah, I think if you look at the best season that Shane Beamer had, who he brought in the transfer portal, I don't think people were maybe looking at in the preseason assuming that was going to be a 9-3 regular season. Players like Cal Cunard, Demetrius Knight Jr., those were absolute difference makers. Torricelli Simpkins on the offensive line. So I think the best thing that Shane Beamer could have done, yes, is pull in some big names in the portal, but is to sort of check every box that he needed to. And he assembled a really, really veteran offensive line. I don't know exactly how their game is going to translate over in South Carolina's system, how it's going to be with Lenoris, but regardless, the amount of snaps that these offensive linemen are, have and are coming in is really big. And Shane bringing in a tight end, it was late, but it happened. I guess the wide receiver room was okay beforehand. He's made it better especially after losing Vandrevius Jacobs.
Yeah.
And I think with a running back situation too, the best thing in some ways that Shane needed to do to settle worries and to sort of stop the fire Beamer energy and things like that, kind of the pit of doom and despair people were swimming in last year, is to say, hey, I'm listening. Hey, I'm looking at our roster, and hey, I'm bringing in people that have the potential to be difference makers. I'm not expecting these 18, 19-year-old freshmen and sophomores to lead the way. I'm able to bring in people who want to compete like he did, in my eyes, the year before heading into 2024.
Lulu Kesson, the Greenville News, sticking there with football. Are there lessons that you believe Shane Beamer could take from what Curt Cignetti was just able to accomplish at Indiana? I know the SEC is a different bear with just elite talent every single week. That's not to say that the Big Ten doesn't have it. I think it's getting better across the board, but it's not quite, top to bottom, the same conference that the SEC is. In your mind, is there any way that a strategy like Curt Cignetti's, which is bring in elite mid-major talent and really kind of coach them up in a different way as opposed to seeking the 4 and the 5-star guys, could find success or at South Carolina, or is it just, in your mind, impossible to do that in the SEC?
No, I definitely wouldn't say it's impossible, and I think we can all learn something from what Indiana did, and I think any SEC team can. I think the sort of mentality that, that can't be done in the SEC is sort of a weird excuse, and I'm not suggesting you said that, but I've seen that afterwards, and it's why not? It's sort of, at the end of the day, there are elements to football that everybody has to master in order to be successful, and I think that it doesn't necessarily mean one conference requires something different than the other. Yes, I will argue and support the, belief that the SEC is incredibly challenging and a week-to-week schedule differs in the Big Ten than it does in the SEC, then the ACC, then the Big 12. There's so many different elements at play. But I do think, like, in some ways, Shane has always been somebody that sort of was able to find these, like, diamond in the rough players, these players who maybe were overlooked that he believed in. And because he has such a good ability to connect with his players and he has very close personal relationships, I see that as sort of an advantage in the same way that Cignetti was able to bring in these people that, you know, weren't making headlines in high school, maybe weren't even making headlines in their first 2 seasons, but he knew the foundation that they had and wanted to help them get there. And I do think that Shane probably in some ways is realizing or has realized that, you know, he's capable of doing that and probably will try to continue to do so.
Lulu, you know, it's really interesting when kind of a follow-up to Diesel's question, but in a different way. When you talk about talent evaluation, I would be fascinated to know, and maybe you can speak to this on a certain level, being there every day, boots on the ground, but what Shane Beamer's talent evaluation process looks like compared to a guy like Curt Cignetti, because you said it. He did get older on the offensive line. He got more guys who had snaps under their belt, right? And if you look at Curt Cignetti's team that just won the national championship, they were a very veteran team. In fact, they weren't far off on average age from an NFL team. So do you think there's a lot to be said for the chasing of the 5 stars and the 4 stars like Kirk Herbstreit talked about just a couple of weeks ago versus the approach that Cignetti took and that Diesel was hinting at maybe with Beamer of getting guys in and evaluating their talent regardless of what star level they have and maybe developing that older roster that can be an advantage in a very tough SEC?
Right. And I think it's sort of a double-edged sword because I'll sort of acknowledge, I think that, like, you look at a player like Rasul Faison who had really high expectations because of his age. And I'm going to be honest, it didn't really work out. I think to anyone's sort of ability or hope, it didn't work for whatever reason. He didn't produce the numbers that Rocket Sanders, you know, did the year before. But I do think that from the veterans perspective, like something that I continuously sort of checked in with Shane about all season was like, do you feel like you have some leadership, some vocal leadership? Do you feel like these players, and while some were a little bit older, it was a really young team. And I'm sort of always willing to die on the hill in sports that, like, you need a vocal leader.
Yep.
You need a couple. And I think that's why it was okay that Lenoris was quiet his first year, because he had really, really loud, older voices around him. And last year, he just couldn't have that anymore. And they left, they went to the NFL, they graduated, and that wasn't around him. And so you point to a quarterback, yes, Lenoris has to step up and be a veteran leader, but also you need those pieces around him. And I think that, you know, obviously Mendoza is probably a little bit more talkative than a Lenoris in, you know, what we see. But at the same time, like, he also had pieces around him that elevated his leadership abilities. And I think that Shane probably recognized, and I do think he admitted that towards the end of the year, like, we need some older guys. We need some people who have played games, because yes, a freshman can be an incredible talent, but at the end of the day, like, experience carries so much weight.
That's a good point.
Lulu Ketson, the Greenville News. Earlier today, we had Ashley Chastain Woodard on the show. I know that obviously you cover the women's basketball team and football. I don't know for sure. Apologies if softball is on your beat, but I haven't seen you tweet about them. True or false? Softball games are more fun to go to than baseball, and also kind of give us a sense of your expectations of what this team could be this year in her second year coaching.
Yeah, I do a little bit of both baseball and softball, but to be honest, I'm sort of tied with basketball through most of the spring. So I'm late in my typical coverage of either team. But I mean, yes, at least last year, I mean, the softball games were so fun to cover because you sort of saw the beginning of what I think is a really bright future. And being a first-year head coach is incredibly hard. I know that obviously she came from Charlotte and this wasn't her first rodeo, but still, with the transfer portal, with revenue share, there's so many elements to coaching that didn't exist 12 months ago. And it's really cool to see that, you know, everything the softball team did and everything that Ashley did, and I think will continue to do this year. I think overall, the things that she said, you sort of like, not that I know anything about coaching a softball team, but covering so many coaches and seeing who succeeds and who doesn't, it sort of felt like she was constantly saying the right thing and preaching the right thing and feeling like her team understood her in a way that maybe, you know, first-year head coaches don't always get right away. And impressive what she did. Even I think if she doesn't have, quite as much success this year, I think it's still sort of an upward trend for what this softball team is going to do. And, it's a historic program with a lot of success previously. And I think that she'll continue to elevate it. And that's always good for everyone on campus. A lot of the women's basketball fans translate over to softball, I've noticed. So I think that's sort of fun too. They really want other women's sports to succeed on campus.
Lulu, you are the best. So much appreciate your time and flexibility today. We will do it again next week, and have a great weekend.
Sure thing. Thanks for having me. Have a good one.
You too. Lulu Kesson of the Greenville News. Really good stuff there. She's plugged in, and if you haven't done so already, make sure you give her a follow on Twitter, on X, at Lulu Kesson. Really good stuff. Diesel, speaking of really good stuff, the owner of the Buffalo Bills spoke. I don't know if you've heard this audio yet or not.
No, I haven't.
But
oh, boy.
It's interesting. And he was asked the question, rightfully so, why he fired Sean McDermott. That audio, next, right here on the Fan Upside. video to play that I sent you?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. So this audio, Diesel, is really, really good. John Galloway back in the Ingles Market Studios will have it for us in a second. But Sean McDermott was fired. We all know that over the weekend. And look, the reality, what'd you say?
Iffy decision.
Iffy decision, depending on who you hire, right?
Well, yeah.
And now we've heard that Brian Daboll might be in the mix. I want to get to this audio on why Terry Pagula fired Sean McDermott. John, whenever you're ready. It's really fascinating, by the way, if we can get it to play. Maybe. Maybe not. Not wanting to? Okay. Maybe we don't have the audio. John, are you getting to the play or no? You can talk to us. It's okay.
Yeah. It's like log into TikTok. No.
Okay, never mind. It's all right. No problem. It's all right.
My decision bringing a new coach was based on the results of our game in Denver. I want to take you in the locker room after that game. I looked around. First thing I noticed, back, his head down, crying. I walked over to Josh. He didn't even acknowledge I was there. First thing I said to him, I said, "That was a catch." We all know what I'm talking about. He didn't acknowledge me. He just sat there sobbing. He was listless. He had given everything he had to try to win that game. My decision to bring in a new coach was based on the results of our game in Denver. I want to take you in the locker room after that game. I looked around. First thing I noticed was our quarterback with his head down, crying. I walked over to Josh. He didn't even acknowledge I was there. First thing I said to him, I said, "That was a catch." We all know what I'm talking about. He didn't acknowledge me. He just sat there sobbing. He was listless. He had given everything he had to try to win that game. My decision to bring in a new coach was based on the results of our game in Denver.
So,
I want to take you
number one, you can kill that. Thanks, John. Very cringy answer, number one, Diesel. Number two, the result of the game against Denver. The one loss is why Terry Pagula says he fired Sean McDermott. And then you brought up yesterday, if you're going to narrow it down to one loss, well, Josh Allen was not good. In fact, he turned the ball over several times. So
5 times.
Five. That answer, I don't like that. I do not like that answer there whatsoever.
So your quarterback has a career awful day in a situation that he has really been struggling to find success, and I'm talking about playoff games. And a bad call is the reason you fired your 98-50 head coach.
I just don't like that explanation, you know? I mean,
that to me says there's something really personal there. And back to what you said just a moment ago.
Yeah.
You said the decision to fire him, whether it was smart or stupid, is going to be based on what the next coach does. Dear God, that cannot be how you make your decisions.
I'm telling you, man. It's head scratching. and then Brandon Beane, like, I for whatever reason, rightfully so, Brandon Beane right now is getting a lot of heat from like the ESPN's First Takes of the World and the Rex Ryans of the world. I know that Brandon Beane isn't looked at as, you know, one of the top general managers or director of player personnel in the NFL. But I just think, kind of like you said, I think there's more to the story there because that just doesn't happen. Like, you just don't lose one game and say, "Oh, heck with it. He's done. Can him. We're getting rid of him." I can't understand that. Just the results of one game, Diesel, can never be the only factor you fire a head coach as good as McDermott.
Yeah, no, that doesn't make any sense at all. And let's continue that discussion, Cole, on the other side of the break. I'm going to ask you a very simple question. It's going to be a short segment here because I don't think it's a very complex answer.
Yeah.
What's ultimately going to go down as the biggest coaching blunder this year? Will it be the Bills firing Sean McDermott, or will it be Penn State firing James Franklin. We'll spend a few minutes on that next.
Clear.
electrifying sports talk from start to finish.
You're going wire to wire
With Diesel and Cole Bryson.
on the Fan Upstate.
Final live segment of the show here today, Cole, as we're going to be making way for Dan Scott and Furman Paladins basketball here in just a couple of minutes. So we'll get disconnected so that Dan can get connected. But the question is, we talked there about Sean McDermott and them getting rid of Sean McDermott for some weird reasons. Who's going to rue the day that they let their coach go more? Penn State letting go of James Franklin, who was 104-44 at Penn State, or Buffalo Bills firing Sean McDermott, who was 98-50. Both of them won at about the same clip, 2 out of every 3.
That's an incredibly good question, difficult question to answer. I think Matt Campbell's a good coach.
Yep.
So I think Penn State will be fine. What I don't know is Josh Allen, his lifespan that he has left. Can somebody come in and immediately get him to the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
I'd probably go Bills.
I tell you, I would walk to Charlotte right now and put $100 on the barrel to fire Dave Canales right now, who just got the Panthers to the playoffs. If they would hire Sean McDermott.
No, you would not.
Yes, I would. Come on. Are you telling me I wouldn't walk 70
Dave.
miles and $100?
You did a good job,
Yeah.
Dave, but this Sean McDermott guy, he's looking for a job. He just clicked our application on Indeed, and we would like to hire him. So if you want to stick around and be, we've got a job, we could create a job for you, Dave. But, sorry, it won't be the head coaching job. Diesel, let's dive in to hopefully not too long on the weather. I know it's a crazy weekend, snowstorm coming up, according to Dewey's favorite meteorologist, Chris Justice, right? But what we now turn our attention to now that football season is over, we'll dive into it next.
Clear, but you got that live read coming up. 6